sorry about that. That's it. Technology, eh? We want to welcome you guys who are joining in to another edition of the New Jack Street podcast. There is Vijay in the corner. We got Stevie Street and we got Andrew Knyte. How are you gentlemen doing this evening?
Good evening. We're on Blackstreet.
Okay.
Good evening. We're on Blackstreet.
Blackstreet, yes. Yes. Can we
take us? I'll just say it. So I think BJ can know. So I submitted probably a total of 7 versions of the list. I thought I was done, but I'm like, no, wait a minute. Like this album was so stacked. And I like to think of myself as very decisive, but man, I revised my list several times and it was like, yeah, but and now I can't get the songs out of my head. So, anyways, it's going to be a fun one.
David, welcome. RD, welcome. Joseph, welcome. Everyone that's coming in, if you just drop your stuff in the chat. Dio, welcome.
Instead of ready to fight. Sorry.
Ready to fight for the list. Definitely, yeah. So make sure you guys realize that you're part of the conversation. So we're going to, there are 20 songs, there are 15 songs in the album, 5 interludes. We're going to try and go 15 down to 1. And so play along with us, because as I said, it's going to be fascinating to see what you guys are putting in. Timmy Lee, welcome. So along with that. But Stevie, what was your overall impression when you first bought this album back in '93?
Just blown away. I just remember every evening getting home from work, just dying to play it. From start to finish. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And I think many of us felt exactly the same. You just couldn't believe what was going on. Where's this album come from? That's all I could think of. What, incredible album. We had the Guy albums, and then we got Blackstreet. Unbelievable.
Definitely. Kevin Chef, Mac, welcome. Tanya, welcome. Okay, someone's going to have to help me. Was it Castellophilus or what?
Castillo Plus. Castillo Plus. That would be my guess.
Okay, thank you. Welcome. What about you, Andrew? What were your thoughts when you first got this?
So this memory lane. So shout out to my older brother, Mike. He had a black Honda Civic 94, tinted windows, rims, and he was playing lots of albums around this era. So including the Usher's first album. If I remember, he had like the bass in the back and everything. But this album was definitely a mainstay. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, man, like Blackstreet came hard with this one. So I like those more up-tempo, swagalicious songs, like Let's Go Through the Motions and Come Up to My Room. Like I liked it when R&B got a little thuggish as well, believe it or not. And this album just had so many songs to just kind of like get up and get dressed if you're going to the dance, like, get your outfit together while I Like the Way You Work is playing in the background, like just getting in that mental state, right? And even Baby Be Mine, it was like right that like you know what I'm saying? Like it was just like a different version of what was already there. And it's a long album. It's like a journey. It took me back to like, just that era. I just felt like, man, Blackstreet just, they're about to run the show. So
definitely. Our good friend Colin, driving home. Good that you're not performing tonight, Colin. Derek from Minneapolis, Twin Cities. How you doing, my friend? Okay. Vijay, what about you?
For me, I just wanted to do a little background of how we got to find out about Blackstreet, if that's okay. So this was the album. We were excited about it. Guy broke up in 1992 after Let's Stay Together. Then on this album, Rex and Effect, Hard or Smooth, there was the Wreck Shop single. And I can't remember what was the name of the mix, but they said, them one Blackstreet, them a Wreck Shop. So that was the first time I'd heard of Blackstreet. I'm like, who is Blackstreet? And then there was this album. and you had Chauncey Hannibal was on there. So that was 92. At the same time, you had a chap called Dave Hollister who was on this album, Force One Network, and he was a backing vocalist for some unknown rapper called Tupac, and that was 92. Then in 93, Dave Hollister cut 4 tracks with Carl West for a demo for Denny Hines. So Dave Hollister was trying to figure out what he was doing, and that was 93. Around the same time, Blackstreet they did make an album. They did make their debut album with 24, 25 tracks, I think it was. And Joseph Stonestreet, who was on Baby Be Mine from that same year, he left the group. So they were looking for a new vocalist, and then Dave Hollister came on board. But I do think that Joseph Stonestreet was the strongest vocalist, in my opinion. I love Dave. I love Mark Middleton. I love them all. They're all fantastic singers. There's no taking away from any of them. But I think Joseph Stonestreet deserves a special, special mention. And I believe that the original name of the group was going to be Stone Street. But Joe Stonestreet didn't want to do that. So Teddy took Street, and then he gave Chauncey Hannibal the nickname Black, and then Blackstreet was born. That's it. And I was so excited for this album, man. 1994, I got it a day before it came out, and I got it for £5 less than it cost anywhere else, and I was over the moon. And I listened to it non-stop for the whole month. I think it was just such a phenomenal album. Very, very excited by it.
Yeah. I mean, my impressions. It came out in 93. I moved to the States in 92, and so of course CB4, that when that first came out, and unfortunately the video was somewhat dark, so you couldn't really tell who the faces of everyone. And it was Blackstreet featuring Teddy, and I was okay with that because I always thought that Teddy needed to just pull out music and not get tied down by being in a group. So I was somewhat surprised that he did join the group. But when I keep looking at the album cover, it takes me back to the moment that it just came out, and just sitting down and listening to it, and you get the first interlude of Blackstreet interlude, and you can hear Tammy Lucas just harmonizing as Teddy's talking in the background, and you think, oh my goodness, what is going on here? And yes, he gave us 15 tracks. It's almost as if, and there was so much different than what was out, because they weren't like Jodeci, because I love the fact that they could have 3 guys who could sing and share duties, and they weren't like H-Town. I was slightly disappointed that Teddy started the first half of the album, say, going more West Coast, the George Clinton sample. So, but then maybe in hindsight, he wanted to sort of distance himself from the New Jack Swing thing he was doing and trying to say, okay, let me try and do something different, because it was quite different from what we were hearing from Jodeci and from the other groups. So maybe there was a point to it, but it was definitely a good album, which we're going to go through each of the songs. But I guess my question then for you guys is, there's been 4 versions of Blackstreet. We had the Joseph Stonestreet version. We had the Blackstreet version on the Blackstreet album. We had the Another Level. We had the Finally version. Which, I'll start with you, Stevie. If you were to say, this is the version of Blackstreet that can put on an album that you'd really go by, which one of those versions of Blackstreet would you go for?
I guess add Joseph Stonestreet. That'd be
it.
Yeah,
okay.
The first one, it was pretty faultless.
Yeah.
That's all I can. The others that they added were good. Don't get me wrong. The rest of them that came along and kept the group going, they all did the thing. They all did the bit. But I just think, like you say, 94, this first album, it's a special album. I know the second album blew them right up worldwide, but for us collectors, this is the one, really. This is the one.
Yeah, definitely.
What about you, Andrew? And everyone
So
is coming in, Rascal, 1974, Dwayne, everyone, Chukuma, welcome. Sorry, Andrew. Yeah, what about
yeah,
you?
and I want to keep it real too. I have like a hard stop in about 2 hours, but that said, I want to keep going. So this is going to be fun because we're all going to have different opinions. So I'm going to be a bit blasphemous, and I think Joseph Stone Street is going to be a notable omission. This is my dream lineup personally. It would be Chauncey. I love Levi, but Mark can do what Levi does. So unfortunately, Levi, you got to go. Mark Middleton is now, so it's Chauncey. Wait, yes, it's Chauncey, Mark, Dave, and Eric. I think those. So it's kind of a amalgamation of the first album and the second album. That would be my super group. Now, but if we want to make them 5, wait, did I just say 4? I did. So it's already 5 with Teddy. So yeah, it is what it is, man. It's done. Anything more is just excess. But to me, Mark is what made the second album, not sorry, Forever album, the Another Level album, just like literally another level. That guy can blow. But Dave, I forgot to mention when I saw Mary J. Blige open for Bobby Brown. It's all connected, isn't it? Mary J. Blige opened for Bobby Brown in 1993. Keep saying Chauncey. Dave Hollister was background, and he was out back there with the cane, doing like the backgrounds, like on Reminisce and everything. And I was like, who is that heavyweight, like legitimately, both vocally and physically, but who's that heavyweight behind? So I think Dave and Mark, to me, are the ones who were really just they were the skills of the group. My personal.
Okay, Vijay, what about you?
For me, if I had the ultimate lineup, obviously you have to start with Teddy because he's Teddy. I would have Joseph Stone Street. I would have Dave Hollister, and I would have Mark Middleton. That would be my.
Oh, minus Chauncey.
And well, you have to have Chauncey. You can't have Blackstreet without Chauncey, so that would be unfair. So I'd have 5 members as well. That's
okay.
But have you guys ever seen Parliament Funkadelic perform? I've seen them perform where they had like 30 members on stage at the Jazz Cafe. Jazz Cafe is a 500 capacity venue.
Wow.
So imagine that 6%, 7% of the entire room is the band, and they're all on stage on this tiny stage. So I kind of feel like Blackstreet needs all of them have their place, and also you should give an honorable shout out to people like Jay Styles and Lenny Harold, who tour with them now. But difficult choices.
Yeah, I think.
What was the reason he left anyway, Josie Stone Street?
I believe he had a problem with something or the other, and Teddy walked in when he was high, and he had a problem, and I think he gave him the sack. That's what I understood.
Yeah, I mean, during the interview, Levi, not just Levi, but Sprague, all of them, they've all said that, if they were to compare singers, so I've asked all of them about Joseph Stone Street, Deezo, Big Bub, Aaron Hall, who would they rank? And without a doubt, they've all put Stone Street above even Deezo.
Wow. Not
just vocally, but creativity, his creativity, being able to, we all hear about Jay-Z just being able to write a rhyme without writing it down, just going off it. But they said Stone Street was like that. He could just come up with a song just like that. I think Once in a Lifetime or something like that he was just in a booth and he just came up with it or something like that. So I Want to Make Love, he was just listening and he just sang it and just wrote it, just sang it like that. I could, just freestyle the song. But he did have his demons, and unfortunately it was too much that Teddy knew that actually, it was going to get worse before it was getting better. Even Tammy says that he was just on another level vocally. Who was the lady we interviewed, Stevie? That Trisha Covington?
Trisha Covington, yeah.
Covington. She said that he was just blown away by working with him. Remember that?
Yeah, they did a track together. That's part of
and she said that she was. Yeah, she said he was just blown away. But for me, I think Eric's my guy. And Mark, when you see Mark, he's always singing. He's not. Even everyone's chatting, and he's just there. Everyone's just singing, so he just loves to sing. But I think the first lineup I would have loved Joseph Stone Street instead of Dave, and I think just with Eric. With Levi, with his falsetto and his different vibe, and Chauncey. I think Chauncey's probably one of the most underrated singers. Because you listen to him on this album, and he has a very tender voice that just is really unmatched. Not many people sing like him. He doesn't try and do a KC and stuff. He just has a spot that is just like his spot. So I think if the first group with Stone Street had did their thing, we probably would have. Who knows?
Vijay, which lineup did we see? Do you remember in London?
Together we saw. I think it would have been the Another Level lineup. I'm pretty sure it would have been that.
It was the gig where it was supposedly Teddy and Guy, and we was waiting behind a curtain for Guy to come out, and then we were disappointed because only Teddy appeared, and then Blackstreet came in afterwards.
I think that was the Another Level lineup. I'm pretty sure it was with.
So it was Teddy. Was Dave Hollister there, and was it Eric Williams?
Funnily enough, I don't think Dave was on that lineup. I think it was Teddy, Levi, Mark, and Eric.
Yeah, that was it. And we did the fanboy thing at the end. We went round the back of the venue to see if we could meet Teddy, and guess what? We met Teddy.
He invited us. He invited us to China White.
That was it. And you said to me, I've got work in the morning, Steve. You go, Steve. And I'm like, I don't want to go to China White.
I had a 6:30 start, so there's no way I was going. And I know China White well. That's not an early night. There's no sleep if you're going to China White.
Okay.
Well,
go ahead.
One thing I wanted to share that many people may not know. In '92, Blackstreet were doing demo tracks for a relatively known artist called Michael Jackson. And they did a song called Family Thing. So imagine this, a reference track done by Blackstreet, lead vocals by Chauncey Black, production by Teddy Riley, and Chauncey trying to sound like Michael Jackson as best as he can. And he did a pretty good job on that, but I don't know if many people know that Blackstreet did demos for Michael Jackson tracks in between Dangerous and the History album.
It's a shame he never used it then.
It's insane.
I've heard his Michael's version of it, but Sprague said the production wasn't Teddy's production. So there's a version of Michael singing Family Thing, but it wasn't. But the production wasn't Teddy's because it was rough. It was not. But this was because what happened. Levi said that even Rodney Jerkins said that they were all in Virginia. Then in the middle of the night, Teddy gets everyone up and says, "We're going to go to New York." And when they got to New York, he told them, Michael's called us to work on a new, for the Addams Family stuff, and they were doing doing the soundtrack, and he rented out the Hit Factory, built, so Levi, everyone was there, and they were just ready for, he paid for a lot of stuff.
You know what, Vijay? I've just remembered that occasion where we met. That's the second time we met Teddy. It was the first occasion. The second time he pulled round I'm sure he came out in a car and said, "Do you want to go to China?" He was in a big black mini thing, and said, "Do you want to go?" But the first occasion, he came walking out the venue, and we had our photograph taken with him and some of the group. Am I getting it all mixed up?
I think
you're getting
it twice. It's all muddled here, isn't it?
Where are the pictures? Where's the proof? Where's the proof?
If I could jump in for a second. So I know we met. I actually have video the night that we met for the first time, DJ, at the Greek. when Blackstreet performed, like Levi, like he definitely, like we had a little kind of conversation with him in the parking lot, and I was surprised at how raspy his voice was, even though he has that falsetto, right? That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two for Stevie, I'm remembering that song "You Got the Flavor" on New Kids Face the Music, and it sounds like a Blackstreet joint. And I just checked the credits, and it is Chauncey Hannibal on there, so I can totally hear them singing that. It has a kind of Baby Be Mine kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
And then I look at Girls, Wani Morris is on there, like as a writer, but then it's got Chauncey Hannibal as a writer as well. So those two songs feel like they were kind of like Blackstreet, like potentially rejects, and then they just kind of gave them over to the New Kids. But a trip from '94, so it's all the same era.
And Stefan, welcome. We haven't seen you in a while. Lee, welcome as well. Joseph, yes, okay. Well, I mean, come on. We've danced around this album so much, we might as well even get into it. So for those who are just joining, because there are 20 tracks on the album, 5 interludes. I've ranked my 5 interludes separately, but we're going to go from 15 down to 1, and we just, we'll chat around it and stuff like that. It's definitely, as I said, definitely an underrated album. Unfortunately, Another Level did 4 or 5 times, I think almost 5 times the sales of this album. But for me, I always thought that Teddy was in his element. He went with the Bobby album, with the Blackstreet album. He did the Hard and Smooth, Rex and Effect. He had just come off of the Michael stuff. And I think he was just as... And one day in the summer, we may do a debate about Teddy with GR Productions and Teddy post GR Productions when he did these type of albums before 96 or so. But let's just start. So I have no problems. I mean, if you can see us on the screen, we can just go clockwise. For me, number 15 on the album, probably the song that I always skip, the only song that I skip when I listen to it. And I've never liked it, and it's called "Make You Wet." I hate the dun dun dun, the sound that just goes dun 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 dun. If that wasn't there, I might have had a very different feel about it. But it's just so annoying that it just goes throughout the whole song and dun 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 dun. And I'm like, oh,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's just so yeah. So
that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
Colin's accent 15, not 10. No, Colin, it's 20 albums, 20 songs in the album. So we had to really.
We were going to go with the top 10, but there's too difficult to do a top 10, so we extended it.
So we're going to do 50 just for this album. So yes, "Make You Wet." I listened to it and I'm like, oh come on, maybe the theme and stuff. This is also a switch from Teddy, because Teddy would always beep out any swear words and stuff like that, but I don't know what happened to him on this album, where he wasn't sure if he wanted to be a hardcore person. But yeah, "Make You Wet," it's just the worst song I've ever. I don't know if they'd removed it, I would have loved the album even better. You Blow My Name, number 50. Oh my god!
Yo, this is about to be a bloodbath.
Physical thing. What are you guys doing? Physical thing. You Blow My Mind.
What is going on? No.
Okay.
Well, hold on a minute. You put "Make You Wet" at number 15. That's an absolute banger.
That song, I'm even surprised if we had done a top 14, it would have not even made it. It was just the fact I had to put it at last. But I knew you'd pick that one. I know I could do my number 1, 2, and 3, and I just quickly put 15. Yeah, "Make You Wet." Put it down there. Anyway, Vijay, up to you now. Stevie, then Andrew.
Nnamdi, is it okay if I just thank everybody that's contributed to this before I say my 15, if that's okay?
No, but at the end, because you're going to have your list at the end.
At the end, will you do your big list?
Okay, cool. So my number 15 is "Good Life," and I think and the thing is,
why are you all laughing?
You're tripping.
Why are you all laughing?
Check this out. This is madness. Because,
oh my god!
Because there's no right or wrong answer for this list. It is what it is. There's no bad tracks on this album. as far as I can tell. So Good Life is my number 15. It's Andrew and Nnamdi, it's probably your number 1 or number 2. I don't know. Based on that reaction. But I didn't listen to it as much as some of the other stuff at the time. And I've listened to it more in recent years, and it's fantastic.
Okay. At number 15, that's fun. Stevie, what about you?
I thought I'd start in nice and easy with my favourite interlude, number 15.
Interlude? You guys are throwing you...
And that's with the 1-2 checker. The 1-2 checker. Hey, love, keep it real. So we started off with a nice 2-minute interlude rap. Hey, 1-2 checker. Teddy, are you ready? We're ready, Teddy. Teddy, are you watching tonight? So that's number 15 for me.
So your interludes are making up your top 15?
Just one. It's the only interlude in the top 15.
Okay. Okay, Andrew.
All right, I'm getting ready to duck the tomatoes. Here we go. So my number 15, I'm just gonna just rip off the Band-Aid. It's Happy Home is number 15. And I know a lot of people love that song, but let me tell you why I not hate the song, but it bugged me about it. It's a good song, but when he says, I can come running too, like it sounds a little bit obscene, right? I know I'm weird, but you know what I'm saying? Like instead of like, I can come running too, like I can come running too. I know it's really weird, but like I hate that line. Like, make me a happy home, I can come running to. That makes sense. But with you hear, I can come running too. So you're talented, you can, it was really weird. I know people are like, what, Andrew? But anyway, that line is just, it's a little off for me. So that's why it's number 15. It's a classic. You can definitely, Nnamdi's face is like, what the hell? But it's just legitimately not my favorite one. And RD, yes, I'm sorry, RD. It's weird, I know. But as a kid, I heard I Can Come Running Too, and it just was like weird to me. It just hit me the wrong way.
Knowing you the way I do, Andrew, I think what it is about that is grammar matters.
That's true.
That's what it is. That's all it is. It's
it's an awkward lyric. It's an awkward lyric.
Yeah.
All right.
But everything else. It's the only track on the album I skipped, actually. I never really listened to that track. The only one.
All right.
Didn't make my top 15. So kind of in agreement with that.
This is when we were introduced to the Neptunes. Chad is playing the saxophone. Pharrell's in there. Oh, goodness. Anyway. Yeah, disappointed to hear that. But hey, that's where we go. Number 14 for me. A song at the time when it first came out, it was one that I was like, goodness, what was the deal with this? Now, I will say that I appreciate the song now. And probably over the last couple of years, when I never knew they had a video for this, and I saw the video recently. And then when I was talking to Buddy, he said that he was in the video, that they were in the video. And that was Good Life. So Intro were in the video. If you ever watch the video of Good Life, you see Intro in there, and they're having a barbecue. At the time, I felt it was the sample, the whole sample, the whole Parliament Funkadelic, and the whole stuff was just so much. And I'm thinking, is he trying to do this whole West Coast stuff? So I did enjoy it at the time. But now, as I said, I can appreciate it a little bit more, but it wasn't my favorite on there. So Good Life. But tonight's there's something we need to ban from this place. Tonight's the night at number 14. Anyway, so Good Life is number 14 for me. Yeah, Vijay.
I'll just say my number 14, but an interesting fact about Good Life. Somebody that we know, a chap called Dan Perlberger, actually found the copy. So he found a copy of the Good Life video because it was missing. Nobody had it. He found a copy, and he was the one that uploaded it onto YouTube for the first time.
Was it YouTube or Facebook? I think I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah, so there's a reason why we call him Dan the Man, because he's Dan the Man. And if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't even know what that video looks like. None of us would know what it looks like, that video.
So if you see it on other channels, you know it's come from him. So
it's definitely
that.
Yeah, definitely that. That's right. Number 14 for me is an interlude. There is a full version on the original album, and it's Once in a Lifetime. When I first heard this interlude, I thought, why is there not a full version of this song? It promises so much. but there is a full version and it's outstanding. It's a killer interlude. Love it.
Okay. Stevie, what about you? Number 14.
They made 2 cover versions for this album. One of them which made it, the other didn't. I wish they'd have put the DeBarge cover instead of the Stevie Wonder cover on. So I've gone for Love's in Need at number 14. I know it's a big thing at the time to do Stevie Wonder covers. It's a solid track, don't get me wrong. I'm not sure the message, what they're putting across, fits this album, but it's still a good track, still a solid track. But like you say, I'd have preferred to have I Like It on it and left off Love's in Need, but it's number 14.
Interesting thing about that. So in '93, Interscope had spent a lot of money on remixes for I Like It, and Germander had released their version of it, and that came out just before Blackstreet were about to drop it. But there are 15 different versions of I Like It, and there's a remix with Greg Nice on it.
Wow,
Nice.
Just
No
thought
pun intended.
that, yeah. So just interesting thing for you, Stevie. Yeah, very cool.
Okay.
Right.
This is Andrew.
If it were up to Nnamdi, I'd be banned for this next one. So I love Tammy Lucas, but yes, at number 14, let's make the night. Sorry, let's make tonight, and all the way. And didn't SWV do the single version? So like,
With
why?
Craig Mack here.
Yeah, like anyway, but that's number 14. We'll keep it nice. We're gonna keep it going. But yeah, hopefully you still let me stay.
Goodness. Andrew.
huge Isaac Hayes sample in that record as well. Very big Isaac Hayes sample.
My number 13 is a track that actually I probably didn't like. I didn't think it did justice to how it should have come out. And I probably didn't even like the featured rappers on this particular track. And it's Baby Be Mine. I think the original was much better. Hey Ezekiel, like the original version, and I think they were almost trying to stray away to. They probably could have just put the original version on there or do something different. But I just didn't like how this one came out. And some of the remixes are much even better than this. You know, when you listen to the Greatest Hits Japan import, is that the same I Like on that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's on the Greatest Remixes.
Okay, so that was definitely a good one. But yeah, so Baby Be Mine, the album I just didn't like. So, well, yeah, it's number 13 for me. Vijay.
Number 13. This is the album. If you're looking for I Like It, just if you're looking for it, you should definitely try and find this Greatest Remixes. Fantastic remixes on this.
Yeah, I love that album.
Plus the bonus track of I Like It, if you're interested. 1974 CFJL said something a little while ago. The Rex and Effect mixes that first mentioned Blackstreet was the Jamaica mix and the Blacker mix, if you're interested.
Okay.
What number are we on? Number 13?
13, so no people have Baby Be Mine.
My number 13 is I Like the Way You Work.
Wow.
I love it, but I don't listen to it enough to help it crack the top 10. It's very good. The ballad mix is fantastic of that, but we're talking about the LP mixes, and I Like the Way You Work is number 13 for me.
Okay. Stevie.
If you've never heard a track by a group called the T.S. Monk, after this podcast, go and listen to it. It's a track called Bon Bon V, and it's basically Teddy Riley singing The Good Life over T.S. Monk's Bon Bon V, which takes
that's what Miss Savignon was saying. She just says.
So for my number 13, I went for Good Life. I like the track, but like you say, probably because it's so heavily using a better track, in my opinion. it's a great track still. It's number 13 though. Didn't make my top 10, but it's still a brilliant album cut. Good creative use of to even pull that out and do something with it. I was like, wow.
Okay, good life for you. Knight.
Slow it down, take our time. I'll be yours and you'll be mine. On a candlelight night. So that interlude is number 13. I wish that was a whole song. I liked it. It had a good kind of thing going down. But yeah, that was it. So that was my first attempt at singing today.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay. So that was your number 13. Okay, we're down to number 12. I think I would have liked this number 12 more if the original writer and singer had done it the way it probably should have come through. But again, I think there's a lot of sampling on this one, and it's I Want to Make Love. It was heavily, you could hear heavily the Roddy Chapman, and maybe if he had just and maybe if Joseph Stonestreet had sang it the way he did, it might have taken it to another level. But it's number 12 for me.
Wow.
Number 12 for me is I Want to Make Love. Colin said, yeah, Baby and I, not a good version, definitely. I also, okay, we're doing well. So what's that? Who's this? All these put Joy at number 12. Goodness. Even New Pack. Oh, goodness gracious. All right. Vijay, before I have a heart attack.
My number 12 is, if it was the remix, this would be so much further up because I listened to that remix so much. Yeah, the remix featured SWV and Craig Mack. It's Mark Hill Riley produced it with Teddy. It's Tonight's the Night. I would have loved to have heard the remix of Tonight's the Night with Tammy Lucas instead of SWV. That's just me. I think that would have been an absolute killer. But the brand new remix, B3, which features SWV and Craig Mack, would be right up there. But like Andrew, I have to put it lower down the pecking order, and that's my number 12.
I'm stunned, DJ.
I'm sorry. It's such a difficult album, but the remix of this is, god damn, it's amazing. It's so good. I mean, it's spectacular, isn't it? But the album version I didn't listen to so much.
Really?
I didn't.
I thought it might with Tammy Lucas on. I thought it would have got you that track.
But then I heard the remix and I thought, if only they'd taken Tammy and put her on this remix. And I don't think Tammy got enough love with some of this stuff. She should have been out there. She should have been like the main female vocalist on all of this stuff. Like, but she wasn't, and I think that's a damn shame.
I remember when the video came out, and because I heard the sort of video on BT, and I was like, okay, look at what Blackstreet are doing, I could, SWV, they were on fire as well because they had just done the Right Here remix, so they were doing their thing, but it was a different song, and I think what they missed is that I think they missed the opportunity to realize actually there was a big following of Tammy Lucas, and I think people were waiting to see her. We saw her on this album, like, wow, let's see what's going to come in. And on the radio, we were getting the original version, but when they did the video and took SWV, and actually they did a remake of the original song and took Tammy's vocals off and actually had Coco sing the exact same song. And it didn't have, as much as I love Coco and stuff, it just didn't have the magic. There was just because Tammy co-wrote it, so she knew what she was singing. And so I was very disappointed with what they did there. The same way they didn't put her in that's the one with Heavy D. What was it called?
Is It Good to You?
Is It Good to You? They put models in there. They didn't put it in there. And so the only people who really respected her were Tribe Called Quest. They were the only ones that respected her. And that song blew up because of Tammy. People were like, oh, look at Tammy's on. This is Tammy with first, with Tribe. So yeah, disappointed with what Teddy, what Blackstreet and Interscope did with that. But anyway, I digress. So Stevie,
The other thing about that was the first time that Chad, Hugo, and Pharrell had credits with in Teddy's camp. I think Pharrell had a credit on Rump Shaker 2 years prior, but Chad and Pharrell and Tammy Lucas on one track, because remember, Tammy was a part of the Neptunes as well with Mike Etheridge. So the four of them were together. So that was the first time all of them were on the same track as credit. So based on that, I really should have put it much, much higher. I think I've made a mistake, Stevie, but I've done it now. I can't take it back. Done.
okay.
It's done now.
Stevie, what's your 12?
Didn't make my top 10 this track. I must admit, I loved it at the time, played it a lot. As the years have gone on, it's all right, you know, but Booti Call's at number 12 for me. Fun track, didn't make that top 10. Nice, you know, fun, funky, P-funky track. Another song with a big Parliament funk. Someone in the comments put what the sample is, Parliament Funkadelic or whatever it is. That is, but Booti Call made my number 12.
Booti Call, it's a Booti Call, because it's Booti Call late no. Yeah.
Great remix of this.
It had some amazing remixes. That I think when it comes to the remixes, that topped it. I mean, I remember buying the Max's single.
Atomic Dog, that's it.
Yeah, they had some amazing remixes. I mean, I think the remixes were much better than the original one. But yo, fellas, if a girl calls your room at 2,
totally, it is a fun track. The problem is, if I put that in the top 10, what do I leave out? What can you? There's better tracks on the album than that, even though it's a solid track.
Yeah. Okay. Atomic Dog, yes. Okay, so Andrew, what's
So yeah, it's
Number
funny. Vijay held up the CD single for "I Like the Way You Work," and I remember my younger brother actually bought that. And there's a good ballad version of "I Like the Way You Work" on there. So I remember the remixes off of this album were phenomenal, and I think that a lot of them were kind of overlooked. But to keep things moving, at number 12 is "I Like the Way You Work." I remember being actually surprised, like, why would you make that the single? Like, there's better songs on there that could have been a single than "I Like the Way You Work." It's a good song, but it's not, you got better ones. But anyway.
That's exactly what my thought was. I didn't understand. I mean, it was fantastic to have like a double A-side with Booti Call and "Like the Way You Work," but I didn't think that was the right call at the time.
Yeah. Okay, well, number 11 for me. Where did I put this there? I think I'm falling in love again with you. Falling in love again. I told you, Steve, I was dusting up the vocals. I would also say I love the way they sequenced this album. I didn't, in later years, you're getting fast song, mid-tempo, slow song. They said, okay, up-tempo, we get Love and Needs, kind of slow it down, and then we start to go to the ballads. And so for me, I Fall in Love Again was, nice track and everything. But it didn't really catch me like that. So it wasn't one of the stronger ballads. So that's number 11 for me. Falling in Love Again. Well, the part when they said our love is tattooed instead of tattooed, because they're trying to. I don't think you remember that part. There's a part when they sing "We're together and our love is tattooed." Unless you guys don't really hear it, it's hard to pick it up. But yes, Falling in Love Again is number 11 for me. Okay, Vijay.
I see you, Claude, by the way. What's up, man? Nice to see you there.
Chances sings off. Connor says Chances sings off key. Not that I would know if somebody does sing off key. In Love and Needs.
So my number 11, and this is why I'm wearing an EPMD t-shirt today, is because of this man's contribution. Eric Sermon did a few tracks on this album. Only one made the final version, and that's my number 11, and it's Booti Call. This particular CD is fantastic because there is a no rap version, which is 2 minutes 59 seconds. So for all of you that like no rap versions of songs, that's the one you need.
It's useful. It's useful.
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay, Steve, what about you? What's 11?
I can't work out on Baby Be Mine on this version. Was Joseph Stone Street singing them vocals?
On which one?
On Baby Be Mine.
I think so.
On the original?
On this version. Who was singing the vocals on Baby Be
Dave
Mine?
Hollister.
It sounds like Dave.
I thought it was Sean. It sounds like Sean. But anyway, when I first heard this new version, I was really excited. I was like, whoa. The drums, percussion, and the singing, I was blown away. And then the rapping came in. I was like, oh no. You just absolutely killed it. Why did we get them long, crude raps? I love everything about it, apart from the rapping. And that's probably the reason why it's not made my top 10. But I still love Baby Be Mine as a track. So it's at number 11. It didn't make
the rap was crude.
And I'll be a happy man.
Yeah, I just didn't like the raps on there. Okay.
But I thought it was incredible newer version with the beats and the drums and the singing. I thought, I was blown away.
Andrew, what about you?
Number 11, man. I wanna make love tonight. Ooh. It was a perfect end to the album. It could have ended right there, but it didn't. But it was just after that journey of an album, it ends with that one. I just like the left to right, the whole vibe of it. It's just very, just it reminds me a little bit of that whole Key Sweat vibe. It was perfect. I loved it. So anyway, number 11. Even though I loved it, it didn't make the top 10. So that tells you the for 10-1. So.
Okay. So we've just done. Okay, so I'm about to do my top 10, and it's amazing. We've just spent almost 15 minutes just going through 5 songs, and now we're going to top 10, which would normally be our normal episode. But before I do that, there were 5 interludes, and I didn't put any of the interludes into my top 15. But with the interludes, I put Hey Love at number 5. I put the Blackstreet Philosophy at number 4, and Tammy Lucas just harmonizing as Teddy's talking. At number 3 was Once in a Lifetime. Number 2 was Confessions, and for me, Candlelight Night was I think one of the best interlude on the album.
So Hey Love's at number 5.
Yeah, Hey Love was number 5.
The whole interlude there with your king rapping and singing all the way through, and you got it number 5. What's going on?
Yeah, no, but I think
Candlelight Night. He's not happy with you again, Nnamdi.
Confessions, Once in a Lifetime. I think when you're listening to it, so I think 5 amazing interludes. But it wouldn't be fair if I put any of those interludes in my top 15. But I just ranked them separately. But going to my number 10. This was the only song that was actually featured in a big Hollywood blockbuster. Well, it made over 100 million at the box office in the US. The movie was called Sabrina, and in the movie, Harrison Ford and Julia Ormond are dancing in the club, and this was the song they were dancing to. Love's in the.
I never knew that.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember being in the cinema watching it. I'm thinking,
wow.
They're dancing to "Love's in Need," because I think I just loved the drums. It was such a different take. A lot of people who are like Stevie calls them covers, but a lot of people when they do remakes, they kind of try and keep it to as similar as it normally is. But this one, they really just did something different with the drums and everything. And as I said, if you ever watch Sabrina, it's an okay movie. This is playing in the club with Harrison Ford and Julian Ormond doing some getting jiggy with it. So Love's in Need is at number 10 for me. Yes, Vijay, what's your number 10?
My number 10 features Chance the Rapper. It's a co-production, Teddy Riley production, co-produced by Markel Riley, and it is Physical Thing. It's brilliant, but it is what it is. There's no right or wrong answers with this. You could change this order of every single song on this, and it's perfectly fine. And Physical Thing, unfortunately for me, is at number 10.
Okay. Mr. Mayo, you said you have a live version of Happy Home recorded on a tape. Okay. It would have made it to number 2. Okay. Can't have number 2, 10. New Park 10. Physical Thing. Okay. Stevie, what's your number 10?
I just remember 1994 as the year of 18-track R&B albums that were all ballads and contained like 6 interludes. And you just want that one up-tempo track. It was also G-Funk had established itself by then.
Yeah.
So I can understand why they released this track. I think it's very slick, very funky. They had the little moves going on in the video, like. And yeah, I like the way it worked. Makes my top 10. I thought it was a fantastic little funky thing. I mean, I have 3 attempts at this top 15. I think it got to. I think it got to high as number 6, and I've ended up moving it back to number 10 in my 3rd draft. But I still think it's a fantastic track. Just that G-Funk production. And I understand now why it probably came out as a single that year. Where was that? Where was it shot? That video? It looks like out the scene of Boys in the Hood or something in Compton.
It looked like a farm, though. Wasn't it a farm?
I look like a scene out of Boys in the Hood to me, that, or one of them gangster movies that Don't Be a Menace or something. One of them houses that they turn up the party at.
Which former lead singer of a New Jack group was in the video?
I didn't pay that much attention to it.
Was Big Bob in that?
Big Bob was the DJ in it. Yeah.
Was it? I'll have to go back and look at it.
You have to go back and look at it. Big Bob was in the video.
Hold on, with the headphones and the glasses on?
Yeah. That was Big Bob.
I thought that was Teddy, but I'm not paying much.
No. Yeah, Big Bob was in the video. Yeah.
You need to change your prescription on your glasses, brother.
That was Big Bob.
Yeah. Big Bob was in the video.
Big Bob.
I don't look anything like him.
Making up for not being in the video of Do the Right Thing, which was a travesty. But anyway,
what was that about?
Maybe he was. I labeled some situation. Maybe we don't know. Anyway, okay. Andrew, what about you? Number 10 for you.
Yeah, 1994 was the year where cuts that I thought were album cuts became like the biggest crossover hit. So that's already there you go. That's the clue that gave it away. But in 94, I Miss You off of Aaron Hall's The Truth was just this big hit that I didn't see coming. And even though I had heard, the album, the song that I heard at people at my high school talking about and then seeing it at MTV as like the big hit was number 10, Before I Let You Go. So for me, that wasn't the one that grabbed me when I first listened to it. It did not grab me when I first listened to it, but it is at number 10. Yes, Omar Epps is in the video, all whatever. But I just think there's better ballads on there. It is at number 10.
What?
Stunned beyond belief. Better ballads.
Yes. There's one in particular that is actually I'll just not spoil it. But
I'm surprised it's a number 10. I am very surprised. But at least it's made your top 10 anyway.
At least it made my top 10.
What's your number 10, Andrew? What did you say it was?
Before I Let You Go.
What?
No, that's your tonight moment.
All right. Tonight moment. Fair enough.
My goodness.
I'm sure we'll all have one of those at least tonight.
I think if you ask any person, well, okay, it's hard because I think because No Diggity was such a big pop hit, I think there are people, if you say, Blackstreet, they'll say No Diggity, which I never really did like. But if you ask R&B fans, Blackstreet, Before I Let You Go becomes that, like, yeah, that was their signature song, more so than Joy, because it did better on the charts than Joy. But I think Joy has endured a lot longer. But anyway, that's that. Yeah, people are actually about to collapse with you.
Yeah. Right. I said
good
this tomatoes, but I shall return
Okay.
later on.
Oh goodness.
Andrew's experienced his first roasting on the podcast. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club.
And Max says, "I'll see you next week." Yeah. there's still the others here, guys. We're still here to support that. Yeah, getting to number 9 for me. At first, I didn't think this was a strong enough lead single. I think also it caused some controversy around the subject matter. And I thought it was such a cheap video. But actually, the remixes were great. And I think when you keep listening to it, it can become catchy. And it's Booty Call. I think the remixes, he did some better remixes. They had that one, Ain't No Call Like a Booty Call, could a booty call those things gave no time. I mean, they had so many good, amazing remixes on this that I wondered why they didn't use one of the better remixes on the album version. But I think in the Booty Call, one of the things I liked about it is that this is where you see what made Blackstreet so much different, is that you could hear Levi, you could hear Dave, and you could hear Chauncey all coming through with their vocals and harmonizing, especially from the second verse and stuff. And I think this is what said, okay, with Blackstreet, not many groups, apart from Boyz II Men, who always had, formula how they start, finish, and end. But very few groups had what Blackstreet were doing. It's like, we're going to have 3 different vocalists. We're going to have our own song, but we're going to come in when Teddy's singing. So Booty Call number 9 for me. As I said, I do prefer the remixes. There's some amazing remixes, but I'd give that number 9. Yeah, that was the KC Miami one. Yeah, that was another good one. Yeah. Vijay, number 9.
Was there one using Eugene Wilde's "Gotta Get You Home Tonight"? There was one of that.
Booty Call, gotta get you home with me tonight.
That was
Booty Call.
amazing.
Yeah.
That would have made a great ballad.
And that was Chauncey singing that one. Yeah.
Killer ballad.
Yeah, yeah.
My number 9 is a co-production with Markel Riley, and it's "Falling in Love Again." I love this song. It's so good. It's so good.
With you. I think I'm falling in love again. Yeah, okay.
That's my number 9.
That's your number 9. Stevie, what's number 9 for you?
I'd agree with Vijay. I think on my first draft, it got to number 7, but it got pushed back to number 9. But it's what you term as a soulful swayer, because you're swaying, falling in love again. Class, quality track.
Yeah, definitely.
Easily makes my top 10.
I think Timmy Lee has probably got a camera in our houses because he's also put it at number 9. He's got a spy cam in our house. He's seen our
Okay. Andrew, what's your number 9?
Anyway, you got the point. So, Giving You All My Love in the album closer. I actually, when I listened to it most recently, I could hear Bobby Brown versus just like Blackstreet. Maybe it was meant for the Bobby album, but it had a certain like carefree, I liked it. It was just very light, dancey, just nice. So anyway, number 9, not a lot of fanfare, but that's the one.
Okay.
Is that Markel on there rapping? Who's the rap?
Yeah, it's him, Markel.
Yeah, so I'll check maybe. So that also would have worked, had it been again. I think it just should have gone to Bobby, but Chauncey did a good job on that. I'm pretty sure it's him.
Yeah, it was him. Okay, down to number 8. Yeah, I think I Like the Way You Work was my number 8. I think, and I can remember now, LL Cool J was supposed to do. He actually did a remix, a verse for "I Like the Way You Work," but it didn't come out. And I think he also, and he says "No Diggity," and that was some of the. I've heard a version of him singing "I Like the Way You Work," and then he says "No Diggity." And that's when they're probably a part of what they use for the song "Falling Up." But I've heard a version of LL Cool J's rap for "I Like the Way You Work" for the remix, but it didn't come out. So I Like the Way You Work. Definitely a nice little mid-tempo track. I think they could have had better songs they released for their videos. I think there were better songs than this, but a nice little track.
Wow, number 8, Nnamdi.
Number 8 for me, yes. Wow. Vijay, what's your number 8?
My number 8 features a rap by Idris Davidson, but the original version featured a rap from Akil Davidson from Rex and Effect, and that was Make You Wet. So my number 8 is Make You Wet.
Wow. So you can stand that, it's just so loud and just all night long.
Nnamdi, what podcast are we on this evening?
That was not a New Jack. That was just so.
All right, what's New Jack on this album? Because I can name about possibly three tracks at the most that are New Jack influenced. That's one of them. Name, what are the other couple of tracks that could be New Jack swing influenced? Baby Be Mine.
Yeah.
And Give You All My Loving as a swing to it as well.
Yeah, but if they could have drowned it out, that it was just so loud and it just felt But anyway, that's definitely. I mean, as I said, to me, if we could have voted to remove one song from the album.
And it is another thing your beloved Teddy always said about his productions as well. He always, in his club tracks, his upbeat tracks, he always aimed to put some sort of noise in it that you wouldn't forget. And that's what he did on that track as well.
Yeah, okay.
Even with Rex and Effects, New Jack Swing, that sound in it, he always put a sound in that you wouldn't kind of forget.
Yeah, but it was so loud and just, it was so loud over it. Yeah. But it was definitely was something that I as I said from day one, even if I listen to it now, it was the one I just despised the most. But anyway,
despised the most.
As I said, despise. Yeah, I just can't stand that. But anyway, what about you, Stevie? What's
this is what number 8. Yeah, it's moved up a lot in my chart. I think this track sounds phenomenal now. I think it just sounds it. I like it more now, a lot more than what I did back then. Back then, I just thought, the pace has dropped. We're still on the up-tempo side of the album. Suddenly, and I'm going, boom, mid-tempo. But God, this track sounds a physical thing. Number 8. I wish it could be higher because it's like, I'm playing it a lot at the moment. I think it sounds amazing.
Okay.
It is a nice song.
It is
incredible. Just the production and the way it grows and the chord change over the top and the way it builds. Brilliant.
For sure.
Yeah. Andrew, what's your number 8?
You guys aren't going to believe this. So
I'm sure Joey.
So basically not. I sent Vij, I sent you a top 16. I had 2 number 9s, and this is just because of all the revisions I did, and I forgot to remove the double. So what happened is one of my interludes is in the top 10. I removed the interlude, so all is well again, and I can tell you the interlude that was in the top 10. So anyway, now my number 8 is your favorite song, Nnamdi. That all night long, I'm gonna make you sweat. Baby check. You best want to sweat. Sing that song, I'm gonna make you sweat. Baby check. Sweat. All night long. Sorry. Make You Wet is number 8. Making you wet tonight. So, number 8, baby. Funky.
I thought maybe after 10 years, when did the album come out? 20 years that I would be able to enjoy it, but I was like, oh no, come on. But anyway, and even our kills rapping too quickly. It just yeah. But anyway, it's a good, big, nice album, and it's good that we have variety.
Yes.
Number 7 for me is I think this song would have been much higher had it been placed. I don't know why it was called a bonus track. I have no idea why it's the last. And by the time you get to it and you've done the ballads, it almost feels as if this wasn't really supposed to be on the album, but we're just giving it to you because it was a bonus track. And you listen to it and think should have been much higher up. In fact, you could have taken Good Life and put it at the bottom. Or Make You Wet actually could have been at the bonus track. And someone was just saying, no, thanks. But Giving You All My Love, definitely such a joyful track. And especially with Markel rapping, it reminds me of when he did My Cutie.
Yes.
There's how does the drums kick in. I thought, this is, it has Leon Silvers III as a co-writer, co-producer in this, so you can feel the joy of that. So, but I think psychologically, because it was at the end, it just felt like it's not supposed to be on the album, but we'll just give it to you. So I think psychologically, I tune out of it, and I don't appreciate it as much if it was much higher in there. If they'd taken track 8 and moved it to 20 and moved it up, I think it would have been a better song, and I think it actually should have been a better single. It would have been a nice single. Vocally, they were good at it as well. Giving you all my loving, 60% of me. Is this 60%? Okay, yeah. Da 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 da. That means I love you. Da da da. Nice little happy upbeat song, but being at number 20, it just really psychologically made me think it was not supposed to be there, so I don't appreciate it as much. But anyway, Give You All My Loving is number 7.
Track it is.
Yeah. Vijay, what's your 7?
Number 7 is produced by Just Teddy Riley, and I love that about this song. We first heard that song on this soundtrack, and I don't know why the original version was not on this. I love this sticker. Check that sticker out. I love those stickers for the CB4 soundtrack. Another random fact, in Europe, there was a company called Beechwood Music, and they created some compilations called Master Cuts. And they did 4 New Jack Swing Master Cuts. And I would not call Blackstreet New Jack Swing at all. That's just me. But on the original promo for version 4, Master Cuts Volume 4, Baby Be Mine was supposed to be on there, and it was taken off. I don't know why, but that makes my number 7. And if it was the original version, it might be number 1, because when I first heard that version, I thought, what is Teddy going to do to compensate for the fact that Aaron and Damien aren't in the mix anymore? What's he going to do? What's this Blackstreet group going to sound like? And I wasn't disappointed. It was brilliant. Oh my God. Yeah, the original.
Are you picking it based on the Stone Street version or based on the version on the album?
If it was the Stone Street version, it might be number 1, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Because it's the one that's on the album, wow. It makes it to number 7. There was a version on my list where I think it was number 15. And that's not a slight on the version that's on this album. It's just nowhere in the same ballpark as.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
it's just not even a fair comparison, I don't think. So
I think you take them raps out, and you get some more vocal verses. It's still an unbelievable track.
Yeah.
It is
Unbelievable track.
Yeah, I didn't like the raps. Yeah. Okay. Number 7 for you, Stevie.
Controversy time, as we are on the New Jack Swing podcast. This was Nnamdi's choice this evening, even though it's not a New Jack Swing album. And I'm trying to get my head around the fact what tracks on here can I relate to New Jack Swing? At the time, I was so happy about this track because it was so up tempo and hard and reminded me everything about New Jack Swing. 30 years on, it does feel a bit cheesy now, some of the lyrics, and you're like, oh gosh, but it still made my top 10. It's the track you despise, Nnamdi. It's Make You Wet. Is at number 7.
All night long.
I love the energy of this track.
Wow, it's amazing how I can listen to a song and think this is one of the worst things I've ever heard, and then you guys can listen to the same song and really have a very different vibe. I think that's the power of music. It's the power of us interpreting it differently. Even Colin agrees with you. Wow. Okay, Andrew.
Good timing. All right. So number seven. I'll keep it quick. Booti Call, nice and easy. Booti Call, that's the one. It's just like the first single from the album, and a respectable finish for the first single to be number 7.
Number 7. Okay, well, now to number 6. I think I liked the what I liked about this particular track, that I have at number 6, is there was an interchange between different vocals. Somebody started off, somebody comes in the middle, and then you see them all harmonizing. Again, the remixes for these are really good, but You Blow My Mind is number 6 for me. Definitely, I just love the. It was very different. It's different than a lot of the R&B that was out there. So if you listen to that, as I said, most of the tracks featuring this G-Funk was West Coast hip hop, and it was very rare that Teddy got Blackstreet to sing with these types of G-Funk. And You Blow My Mind is another one. I think the rap wasn't too bad. If the rap was it Chance, or who was he? I can't remember. Was it Chance? Or who was the rapper on this one? I don't have.
It was almost like a reggae.
Was
like
it Chance? So do you have it, Stevie? You Blow My Mind.
There's one thing you haven't mentioned about this track, but I'll mention it in a minute. Actually, doesn't say. Rapper, Knowledge, Richard Hyde, the pirate. That's what it says.
Okay, yeah, You Blow My Mind. You Blow My Mind, Craig Mack. Yeah, the one that had the Craig Mack. Yeah. I like the, as I said, the Craig Mack, the one that had the Craig Mack Flavor in Your Air remix. Yeah, that was a good one. What was it that you mentioned?
The track, what he samples, what he sings. I mean, there was a lot of, obviously at the time, there's a lot of cover versions of Stevie Wonder, but there's also a lot of sampling going on of the Gap Band. Outstanding. You Blow My Mind, baby.
Yeah.
That is the Gap Band, basically. It's just, the whole chorus comes from Outstanding.
But what was the one that has just touch, giving you, mama, it's just a touch of my love.
That's Slave.
Yeah, but so they sampled that as well because they.
No, it was that Gap Band, Outstanding.
Because in the remix they were singing that song alongside of it. I thought that was also part of I thought that was also part of the sample they used. But anyway, yeah. So You Blow My Mind, number 6 for me. Love the track. I prefer the original, than the remix. I think I prefer the remix, but I think they were equally good for me. So that's my number 6 for me. You Blow My Mind. Vijay, what about you?
Number 6, assistant producer. First introduction to him for me, I think for most of us, would Sprag Doogie Williams, and this was a big ballad. I love it. Before I Let You Go.
Wow.
It's my number 6. Fantastic track. But it makes my number 6.
Okay.
Stunned. I am.
Yeah, you guys.
Even were you expecting it higher?
Yeah, definitely. It's a classic. Absolute classic.
Dave's version is actually yeah. So that's what David was saying, that the original version of Dave's verse is actually lifted from the slave track. Just a touch, yeah.
Love
Just
a little bit. Yeah, that's it.
Good Life had slave lyrics in it as well. Wow. Yeah, so you blew my mind as number 6. But you said that. No, that's before I let you go. Number 6. Yeah, VJ red card. Stevie, what's your number 6?
I actually agreed with you, Nnamdi. I thought the remixes were terrible, though. I thought the album mix was the best mix of You Blow My Mind by a mile. I didn't like the remixes, but You Blow My Mind at the time was just like huge. It's great. I heard this a lot in a club as well. Hearing it in a club on a Saturday night was just amazing to hear, being able to dance to it. Really good memories. Yeah.
I like the fact that you always talk about dancing in the club, Stevie. It would be good.
Some people don't have those memories of hearing the. I'd get the album on a Saturday when it come over on import. On Saturday night, there'd be actually DJs playing this music in a club.
Wow.
People don't get that now. They don't have that. What we had back then. Being able to, you get a promo would come in, a DJ promo, and we'd all pay £10 for it, and then the DJ play it in the club at night, and your head's blown away. You just don't get that now.
Yeah,
it was a different time, man.
Yeah, totally.
Andrew, number 6 for you.
Vij, yours was Before I Let You Go, right? Andy, yours was You Blow My Mind.
Yes.
Steve, yours was You Blow My Mind. Mine is
Girl, you know your love is real. Mind on the real to real. Let's rewind it just one more time. Cause your love is just so in my mind,
all three of us had You
I
Blow My
just want to be with you.
So we're now getting unity.
I prefer that remix. I prefer the cup remix that he's just done there.
I love it.
Do it again. Let's get a reel. All be quiet. Let's get a reel on.
Girl, your love is just so in my mind, girl. You got my mind, baby.
This is like a makeshift recorder.
Oh my goodness! All right, we're going to the top 5 now, and it's amazing how what makes our top 5. If I go back to '93, I was in university, and I remember we had our, everyone needed to make an answer a voicemail for your for your answer machine. And so anytime I heard this song, I always remember recording my voicemail, and it would go, check it out. Hi, you've reached the voicemail of Nnamdi. I'm not in right now. Gotta do my thing. Yeah. If you care to leave your name and voice message, I'll give you a call as soon as I can. No, baby, no. That's all like that. Check it out. Hit it. Don't. That was my voicemail. The first 15 seconds of Physical Thing. And I would just speak over it, record my voicemail. And that was, oh, goodness. I remember my auntie called me from London once. And she was like, what's this long voice message? I'm spending all this money trying to call you. And then I laughed. But it was the coolest thing to have that. And I still... it's because I don't have a CD player, it's quite hard to try and record it on my mobile phone. But I might just do that because I love that check it out, gotta do my thing. That was my voice message. That's my number 5 Physical Thing. Brings back memories. And at the time of that, it would have been a little bit higher back then. But yeah, love Physical Thing at number 5 for me. Remembering my voice message when I was in college.
That's a really cool story, man.
Yeah, I still remember.
That's very personal. That tells us and anybody watching how important this album was for you. It says a lot, right?
It's as I said. There's Make It Last Forever. There's the Bobby album. There's the Guy album. There's the Blackstreet album, and definitely the Thrill album. When I think of the albums that I could just, apart from Make You Wet, but I'll just hold on to, and also apart from Humping Around, that I just really hold on to. These are my albums, and I think it's very close with the Bobby album, Make It Last Forever is probably Teddy's best album production, where he just did 95% of the album, but this was close. Yeah. Anyway, Vijay, what's your top five, number five?
My number 5 is assistant production by Sprag Doogie again. Fantastic. I preferred the original version with Joseph Stone Street singing.
Oh, wow.
But the song is Love's in Need. That is my number 5. I love it. It takes you on a journey. It just really gets into you. I don't know what it is. I'm convinced Timmy Lee has a spy cam in my house because he's looking at my list, copying my list. He's at number 5 as well. Same with Sauvignon. So all good. Love's in Need is the one.
Love's in Need. Okay. Stevie, what's your number 5?
I wanted this to be higher, but it can't because the ones before, but ones above it are just classics for me. Teddy at time was the second coming of Roger Troutman. He loved his talk box vocoder. I just got lost in this track. Wanna Make Love is my number 5.
Wow.
Absolutely lost my head with this track.
Wow.
Go.
Yeah. Amazing track. I wish it could have been higher actually. Number 3 or number 2, but I like it that much.
Deep inside your love.
I'm surprised. You're typically not like the ballad dude, but this isn't what you call it. This isn't the raise your hands in the air type ballad like you were talking about earlier.
No, this is more the slow jam sex ballads that I like.
Keeping it real.
Sex ballads. It was the closest to H-Town of all them. It was the closest.
It's got the Roger thing going on as well. Amazing track.
I feel bad. I put it at number 16 now. It didn't make my 16. I feel so bad.
It didn't even make it. Wow, you had internet better than that. Okay, Andrew, what about you?
Nnamdi, I absolutely was part of that voicemail life, and the one that I remember was "Thanks for a Good Time Last Night" by Albie Shore from the Sexy Verses album. Anyway, it was just like, "Hi, you've reached Andrew Knyte." Right? It wasn't Andrew Knyte back then. It was just Andrew. Like, "Hi, you've reached Andrew. Leave a message." Anyways, right along.
Did any of you guys do it? I don't know. So, because this was stuff in the States, Vijay, Stevie, did you guys ever record a voice message using a track?
With the music, yeah.
With the music?
No.
Yeah, it was a US thing.
It was a US thing. Okay.
Totally a US thing.
I wish I had it now. I feel like I'm trick.
That's funny. Baby Mine. That's the one. And it's crazy because I think everyone in here is like, man, like the album version is whack. It's like the Joseph Stone Street version is better. But I'm a sucker for like remixes or doing something different. So even though we'd heard Baby Be Mine on CB4, 2 years later it comes out, or 3 or whatever, and it's just like a completely different one. And I didn't really consider it like a song per se. It was more of like this is who we are. This is Blackstreet. We're coming back. And then the real song is You Blow My Mind. But like, this is just kind of like, this is a taste. And then it's kind of like Dave Hostler comes in and just says, this is what we sound like now. And we're like, we're taking no prisoners. That's how I saw it. So number 5, Baby Be Mine.
Okay. I'm looking at my number 4 and I thought there was a time that this was number 2. And then there was a time that it was number 1. But then, having to re-listen to the album again for today, it sadly had to go down to 4. And, but I think this should have been a video. I think this is what I think made this group much different, that they could put in tracks like this. Make me a happy home.
Wow.
I can come running to. Make me a happy home. I can come running to. I remember when I spoke to Levi, and he was saying that back then, Chad would come into the studio carrying trumpets and oboes and weird instruments, and they were like, "Man, this kid's just all over the place." And Chad's playing the saxophone on this, and he's a little bit of up tempo, very jazzy, and then he goes back down again. And I thought, man, this would have been perfect. Remember when En Vogue did "Giving You Something They Can Feel," that
Yes.
and that type of age, you just had Teddy. They could have just had Teddy on the piano, and you just had the Chauncey singing, and you have Dave and Eric and Levi just doing some moves, and Chauncey singing, and I thought this would have just been like, oh man, this is a different vibe, a different group. Make Me a Happy Home. I Can Come Running to. Different song, different vibe, but it would have just taken them as a different type of group if they'd released it. But as I said, I just loved the song, loved the chain. And you just have Chad playing his little saxophone in there and stuff. Yeah. I know I know you guys rated it much lower than I did.
No, but you sold it. You sold it. I've got almost like a Harlem Renaissance type music video.
Yeah, they could have used the Cotton Club or the Apollos.
Like you're selling me on it. Like I'm seeing it and I'm liking it.
So Happy Home was my number 4. Yeah.
Wow.
Vijay.
So my number 4, co-produced by the incredibly talented Leon Silvers III and Markel Riley. You have to give a shout out to this man. The fact that Leon Silvers was even on this album, it's just, that is the thing that really blows my mind off. Any credits on this album, the fact that Teddy had got Leon Silvers to work with him on this is insane. And it's the only interlude that breaks my top 5. And I wasn't a big fan of the G-Funk on this album. I didn't think Teddy needed to go down that route. But there's just something very magical about this interlude. And it's Hey Love, Keep It Real. I have listened to this on loop for ages, for an hour at a time, and it would be fine. It's brilliant. It's absolutely stunning. I love it.
Okay.
When we finish this podcast, I'm going to listen to it straight away. That's that's how good it is.
Yep.
Can you imagine them putting an interlude above a song? Okay. I've been trying to get Leon for a while, but he's a busy man. But yes, we're still putting our feelers out there to celebrate the great singer, songwriter, producer, arranger, and all that stuff.
One of the true greats. I mean, Leon Silvers is wildly underrated as a producer and writer. Yeah, the stuff, and he worked with Jam and Lewis's engineer Steve Hodge for a little while. And if you listen to Leon Silver's work with Steve Hodge, outstanding. It's crazy how good they are.
Yes. Okay, Stevie, what about you? What's your number 4?
I've just checked the credits of this track. There's no mention in the writers or what it sampled or anything. Let me just put this to bed. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. We can hear it.
Hear the vocal. Tonight's the night.
Yeah.
That's the master. Isaac Hayes.
Oh, brilliant.
So I just wanted to put that because at the time I had a whole bunch of Isaac Hayes CDs I was listening to. So when this came out, I was just like, you don't mention. I mean, you mentioned Tammy Lucas far more than me, but when I heard Tammy Lucas's vocal on this, it just blew my head away. Just absolutely blew my head away. So number 4 is Tonight's the Night. I think it's an incredible track, obviously based on the Isaac Hayes.
Isaac Hayes, David. Yeah.
It's a track called A Few More Kisses to Go. It's about 7 minutes long. It's a masterpiece. But
I think Redman also sampled the track as well. He came out with it before Blackstreet, but he also sampled. But I don't think he he gives credit to another group that used it as well. I can't remember who it was that used that same. Redman had a track called Tonight.
Yeah, well, tonight's the night. Yeah.
Yeah, Redman. So he sampled. I can't remember who he sampled, but yeah.
But Tammy Lucas is vocal.
Tonight's the night.
Oh,
It's stunning, isn't it?
best,
It
one
is
of the
stunning.
best.
Yeah, I mean, and his yeah. So yeah, A Few More Kisses. Isaac Hayes is who he also sampled. He sampled that one, 92. So it came out a year before Blackstreet's version. But in the credits, though, it doesn't mention Isaac Hayes. So how did they get away with that?
I can't understand. I cannot understand that at all.
How did they get away with that? Not
They would have given away publishing for that. So if they've done that without permission, on the back end, whoever owns the actual publishing would take all of the royalties from that.
No, but I think by this time he learned his lesson with Rex and Effects, Rum Shaker. So they had, they had people on that, but they didn't. It may be just there may be a different word when it comes to the explore. I don't know, but anyway, good choice for number 4.
And Dwayne, you've mentioned that you love the version with more than the one with Coco. There is a version on the single, which is the LP mix with SWV. So if you want to hear that same production, same everything, they just remove Tammy's vocals and they switch it with SWV. Coco primarily, but yeah, that's pretty good too. But Tammy's is the one.
Yeah. Okay, Andrew, what's your number 4?
So I just wanted to shout out my bro Vijay for calling out "Hey Love." So that is the interlude that was at number 2, but I pushed it out. That's how much I love "Hey Love," dude. That song is just like it's like, how is that not a longer song? It's perfect. So, anyways, I wanted to shout that out. Now, number 4 for me, actually, I have a college story for you guys on that one too, and that is, when you're in college and like you're, maybe you're, chilling with a honey or with a girl, how you want to put it, right? And you're making out to like, Soul for Real, or you're making out to like Blackstreet. Well, every time Physical Thing came on, I had to hit skip, because the thing is, when he's saying, "Baby girl, don't take this the wrong way. I want to show you love in my own physical way. That's the way I'm living." You don't want to put any seeds in her mind that you're just like a player, because that will automatically kill all your game, right? You want to be wanted, like you want girls to think they want you, but they don't. No one wants to get hurt, so it's always like down, skip. Just because because you just don't want to risk that. But that said, Physical Thing, number 4, man. And,
Okay.
And it's just unabashed doggerdom. It's just like, no, it's like, but don't get emotional, And I'm just like, man, like that's just that anyway. So
if I'd have bought this album now, I'd have put it at number 4. If I'd have bought this album now, Physical Thing would be just my
yeah.
It's
like, like let's don't get emotional. Like this is this is what it is. Like we're just have fun. All right, let me chill. All right. Anyways, I did way too much there.
Our resident legal expert was saying that Mr. Vigneault saying that it happens that some U.S. artists waive their moral rights to be credited as authors.
Wow.
So she works in the industry as and it could be the case because you don't see him in there. So I think it would be hard not to not pay them and stuff like that. So as I said, that could be the case. But yes, check it out. Did it? Dim. I think it was, because they used the same sample again for "Don't Leave Me." Because there's the barge. No baby, no baby, no baby. Huh. If you take your love from away. So the barge sample. And Park used it as well. But I think they did better with the aim attitudes. I think they don't know baby, no baby, no. Yeah. Anyway. Yes. Okay. So number three, down to top three. Strange with this track, I would say that I didn't like the video version of it. I think it had some really good remixes, and but I think it's definitely something to be marveled when you have a track that is written by Tammy Lucas, and I think this track should never have been on this album. I think it should have been on on Dangerous, and that's Joy. I think it should have stayed with Michael. I think he didn't. He missed the trick. I'm sure when he heard Blackstreet version, he probably said, "Man, damn, what did I do by turning it away?" Levi, I think now I can appreciate when an artist needs that one song that blows up, and it's like, yeah, that's my track. You can just make a living going on tour singing that song if you don't have it. And Joy was that song for Levi. That's his track. I didn't like the album. The music video version was a little bit different and all over the place, and it didn't take the album higher. When it came out, it mellowed out. It didn't really hit, my favorite version of it was the Uptown Joy with with Keith Murray in the background. The most beautiful thing in this world. Duh, 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 duh. That version of it, the maxi single, I had it. But Joy, co-written by, Tammy wrote it along to the music, and Michael and Teddy are credited. And Levi said it when they heard what Michael put out, it was a little bit more up tempo, and then because he plays the guitar, kind of slowed it down a little bit and stuff like that. So yes, Joy at number 3 for me. Yes, okay. Everyone went silent like I just said it.
Joy's a fantastic track, and I agree with what you said. I think Michael should have had it originally. My favorite version of it is the one that they had on the 93 version, because they use there's Blackstreet are singing in the background. They're singing Michael Jackson's I Can't Help It If You Wanted To, and that sounds stunning. So Joy, and then you've got I Can't Help That, all that bit. Stunning. That is just the version for me, but it's a great choice for number 3. Nnamdi, I can't fault anything you said there. My number 3 was again a Leon Silvers and Markel Riley co-production with Teddy Riley. Sprag Doogie shout out as well, because he was involved on that. Markel Riley rap, Giving My All to You. Giving You All My Loving, sorry. Yeah, that's my number 3. It's a great track.
I love it.
Love it. On another day, it might be somewhere else, but today it's number 3. Fantastic track.
Yes. What about you, Stevie?
I'm looking if there's any samples or whatever in this track. Doesn't even mention anything, but I just think this is a great song in its own right. Before I Let You Go has made my number 3. I just think it's just a great song. I think it's a classic 90s R&B ballad. Shame it couldn't be happy, but number 3. What number did you have it at? Knight, you had it what number?
Which
10?
one again? Oh, before I let you go, number 10. Number 10.
What did you have it, VJ?
21. Just kidding. Before I Let You Go was at number 6.
Okay, that's honourable.
Honourable.
I think we'll stop there. But Before I Let You Go, phenomenal. Again, great song. Just classic song. So yeah,
Okay.
number 3.
Okay, Andrew, what's your number 3?
All right, top 3. So this is the last choice that I think is going to just make people scratch their heads. But for me, number 3 is, for me, the best up-tempo on the album. And for me, it absolutely is Good Life. I just feel like the production was just super, like, just wow, yeah. And then he's like, it's Friday night and I just got paid, give me that bone. And then like Splish Splash, I was taking a bath, like thinking about some voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Like, it's just like,
I was like, how did he learn French?
I do know un peu de français. Just cruising down maybe the Las Vegas Strip. It's just a total party song, or maybe cruising down. Like it was unabashed. Like, give me the bone, Blackstreet in effect. It's just the whole boom, yeah. I just love that song. It's number 3. I'll never, even the way it starts at hit it, bonaire, yeah. It's a party, man. So that's number 3. It's my favorite song on the album as far as up tempos. Can't wait for number 2 and number 1. But give me that good life. Oh, last but not least, when I did finally hear the original where it goes like, I love New York City, like the original, I'm like, man, so not only do I love the Blackstreet one, but I'm listening to this song while I'm living in New York City, and I'm like, life is beautiful. Bon Bon V, give me the good life.
Nice.
Yeah, it's I think as I said, I saw the video and it gave it a new life, a new lease of life after seeing a video, because I had never seen a video, and because intro said that we were in the video at the barbecue, and I'm like, what video? And so that's when that's when I had to search it out. And you said, is it Dave the Man or something? That was
Dan the Man.
Dan the Man. So we have to give him a shout out, Dan, for making the video available for those of us who never saw it. Okay, down to my number 2. I mean, this song normally would have been higher, but then it goes back and forth. It goes back and forth. Your understanding is what made us apart. Tonight. Let's make tonight. So if you'd realize how much of a fan I am, as much as you guys would be of Tammy Lucas, and of course we hadn't, seen her, we saw her on My Cutie with Rex and Effects, so we're thinking, okay, here she is now on Blackstreet featuring Tammy Lucas, and I'm thinking, wow, I think when she sings, it doesn't seem like she's straining. It just seems so effortless. And so, of course, when they come out with the remix with SWV, I'm thinking, what is this? Like, Coco's a great singer, but she's not Tammy Lucas, and there's a difference in delivery that Tammy gives. And so when I saw that remix, I was disappointed with that. I was disappointed with the video. But I really love this song. I love the smoothness of it. And again, as I keep saying, it's not it's not, if you listen to a Jodeci track, it's a little bit rougher. But this was almost like a street, but being being a lot more classy. I can't even pronounce the word fascist. I can't pronounce the word now. So it's been a lot more classy with that track. So if you think about this and Happy Home, it's almost like, when we're even I don't think even Boyz II Men would sing something like this. It's stuff that is silly. David Foster, can you give us a little hand in doing a kind of track like this? But I love Tonight, and it's just one other track that just pushes it away. But Tonight, original Tammy Lucas version is my number 2. Yes. Vijay.
My number 2 is co-written by Tammy Lucas and Michael Jackson with Teddy Riley. I absolutely love this song. It's spectacular. What Blackstreet did for this song is stunning. There is a version that Michael Jackson has done, and it's more New Jack Swing. It's not literally this. There's not a song on this album that's New Jack Swing, like proper New Jack Swing. The original Michael Jackson version is a New Jack Swing version, and it's completely different. But for me, the version of the LP version on this is stunning. I prefer the one that's on the unreleased 93 album. The remixes are stunning. Joy. That's my number 2.
Yeah. Okay. Dwayne was saying there was an industry move to put Coco and SWV on it, and I guess it was. I think they were doing lots of remixes with different groups. And I think they were trying to ride off of the fact that they just did the Human Nature remix, and they were like, okay, let's. But the track didn't do much. Yeah. Joy number 2. Yeah, I like that maxi single. No, David. Tammy hadn't left by this time, but I think it was a year later that she left with the Neptunes because they were promised, and they didn't feel as if they were being listened to, and so they moved on. And the next thing we saw Tammy was Super Thug and Tribe. Okay, Stevie, number 2 for you.
How many copies? Someone put me straight on this. Michael Jackson Thriller. How many copies did that? How many millions did that sell at the time? Was it 42?
To date?
Back then, was it literally 42 million people went out over a 2-year period and bought that album?
Something like that. It was around 40
Right,
million.
so what was the running order of the first 3 singles? Was it the Paul McCartney track was the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Girl Is Mine. What was the second single?
I think it was Billie Jean, right?
Billie Jean.
Yeah.
What was the third single? Was it Thriller?
No, I think Beat It.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So when did Thriller come?
Thriller was like one of the later ones, actually.
Yeah, because after Thriller, I think he did Human Nature, then he did Thriller, or something like that.
Let's fast forward to Dangerous, right? How many copies did that sell over a 2-year period? How many millions?
32 million or something?
But in the US, it didn't.
The same time. It's about it was 9 million, wasn't it? It wasn't that? No,
over that period, yeah, maybe a lot less. I don't.
So let's check, what was the running order of the singles? It was Black and White.
Black and White. Remember the time.
Black and White was like everyone was like it was a divide, wasn't it? A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people did. Then it was what? Remember the Time.
Yes.
What was the third single?
In the closet.
What was the fourth single?
Who is it? Maybe.
Who is it?
Who is it? Fourth?
Yeah.
No, Jam.
That's right.
This is where I'm going.
Who is it?
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
Because I think fourth single, if Michael Jackson had released Joy, I think we would have got 42 million seller. And I think Nnamdi, because his all-time favorite. What is your all-time favorite Michael Jackson track?
Lady in My Life.
My Life. I'm convinced there's probably 40 million Michael Jackson fans who've yet to hear Joy. And I think if Joy was released, it would have been 30 million seller easily. So at number 2 is Joy. It should have been my number 1. In fact, the last Blackstreet podcast we did, where we combined all 4 albums, my number 1 was Joy, because I said I still to this day think it's an all-time classic. But for this particular podcast, I put it at number 2.
I think if you
best ever track, Blackstreet's best ever track by a country mile.
I think if you listen to how Levi sings it, and if Michael had taken that style, that version and stuff, even with someone put your hand out,
it would have catapulted that Dangerous album into something.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. I think you're right. That might have been the missing link.
And someone put your hand out.
Thank you.
Yes, very good point.
Yeah, but those type of tracks on there would have taken it to another level. But
you look at the Off the Wall album. It had I Can't Help It on it. Thriller had The Lady in My Life. Bad had what did Bad have as a memorable?
Honestly, probably just Man in the Mirror, as far as
I just can't stop loving you.
What was that?
I just
stop loving you.
I just can't stop loving you.
And then on Dangerous, if you'd have just had Joy, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's what it was missing. That's what it was missing.
Who knows why they make these decisions? I mean, I don't know the real reason. What is the reason for taking that song off Dangerous?
I think at that point, MJ had so much power, you have to say it was him. Like, I think that the more powerful an artist becomes, the more control they have over their career, which can be good and bad. And I think that when an artist gets too much control, sometimes they can they can't get out of their own way, unfortunately. Whereas when Quincy was in more control, you know, he might say, you need this on your album. Mike be like, no. And Vincey's like, I don't care. I'm EP. And then it comes out and it's good. Like, really quick, Bucharest concert. I remember the first time I heard that Someone Put Your Hand Out, like interlude during the concert. And in my head, I'm like, what is this? And why isn't it on the, like, it was just the instrumental. But I'm just like, what is this? It sounds magical. So it's maddening. But Stevie, I think you were like 100,000%, gazillion% right. Had Joy been on Dangerous, it'd be a completely different universe right now.
And David, you said something interesting there. You said Levi did say the original was more upbeat version, though, so maybe Michael didn't hear the ballad. That's very probable, because the original version of Joy was a New Jack Swing, upbeat, let's go get on the dance floor kind of vibe. It was like much
different version.
Very completely different, apples and pears. It wasn't a ballad. So if Michael had done the ballad version, I agree with what you said, Stevie. I think that would have been something very, very special.
Yeah. Okay. Andrew, what's number 2 for you?
My number 2, I think, kind of goes, I had a different vision from this song than others. You know, in 94, there was a certain like vibe or zeitgeist happening where, I'll just say it, there was a certain pride, I think, in kind of Black history, Black culture. You had like, even Black Men United, they had a song called You Will Know. So when I hear Love's in Need, I didn't even know it was a Stevie song at first. I just imagined, believe it or not, like these guys with the bow ties and, you know, handing out bean pies, basically Black Muslims, you know, kind of like a Malcolm X type saying, hey, good morning. Here's your friendly announcer. You know, it's kind of like a hall. And it's just like Love's in Need. When the drums come on, it's almost like the Black fraternity is doing like the stepping. Love's doom doom in, like with the drums. But I actually saw all of that in my head. You know, so there was a, and then also, I love message songs. So like Rhythm Nation is like one of my favorite albums of all time. And I felt like music was getting away from that with the Chronic and everything else, and B and Ho and N-word and all that. And now you've got a song that is more positive, saying love's in need. And the way Chauncey's singing on that is just, he's pouring his heart and soul into it. And it was such a stripped down drums and vocals song. And it was sounding different than anything else on the album. So that is my number 2. I can't wait to talk about my number 1. But for me, I rate it higher than I think everybody else in this whole sphere did. But I love Love's in Need. I really do. So to find out it was a Stevie song just made me like it even more.
Yeah, and I think actually it's that's why I said as a remake, it was, you know, a lot different from what Stevie was doing, but the drum stuff, you know, as I said, it just, yeah, the drums really make a massive difference with the track, and I think Chauncey does not get the credit he deserves as a vocalist. He just has this thing, the way he delivers. Okay.
And can I just shout out to somebody just really quickly? Rob from 911 is listening to the podcast today, so shout out to you. Thank you, sir, for all the music. You are amazing. Okay. That's it. Sorry, carry on. As you were.
Okay, so we are going to count down our top 15 before we get to our number 1. And I'll start off with, so my number 15 was You Make You Wet. Goodness, I don't know how it even made it in there. I probably could have put an interlude in there to get rid of it. Good Life at number 14. But I will say that because after I watched the video from Dan the Man, is it Dan the Man? Is it Dan?
Yeah.
That I actually had a much better appreciation for it, of the song. Number 13 was Baby Be Mine. I preferred the original version. Number 12 was Wanna Make Love. Number 11 was Falling in Love Again. Number 10 was Love's in Need. Number 9 is Booty Call. Number 8 is I Like the Way You Work It. And number 11 is Falling in Love Again. Number 10 is, what have I just done? 10 is Love's in Need. Number 9 is Booty Call. Number 8 is I Like the Way You Work. Number 7 is Giving You All My Loving. Number 6 is You Blow My Mind. Number 5 is Physical Thing. Yes, it's Rab from Foreplay. Yeah, who sang Foreplay. Number 4 is Happy Home. Number 3 is Joy. Number 2 is Tonight's the Night. And my number 1 is Turn the Lights Down Low. Let's take it nice and slow. My mission is to keep you mine. Don't want this to be the last time we make sweet love. Now, I don't sing as good as Andrew, but before I let you go, can I get a kiss goodnight? I mean, if you think about what we're listening to now with men saying, I just want a kiss, just one little itty bitty kiss. I mean, it's just like, wow, they did the video, as the doo-wop street corner singers had Omar Epps and the girl from Coming to America as the love interest. That's a kind of perfect video. You singing, you have the couples doing their thing. Teddy, why don't you play your thing? And Teddy didn't really do his like keyboard stuff. It was just like really stuff like that. And so, such a different track, such a beautiful song, and actually, it reminds me of Let's Chill, because it's really an innocent song that didn't that's very respectful, very much of a timeless song, and it's a very different track. So a contrast to what's that? So You're Having My Baby, Forever My Lady. It's just a very different, innocent. Let's just be friends. Let's just have get our relationship going. So I think this was a really. Let me see who before I let you go, who did the writing on this one. I can't even find
Dave's
it.
vocals on that were simply stunning. I think yes, they were magnificent.
Dave Halstead, Chauncey.
Perfect for that song, yeah.
And that's his song. Levi has Joy. Dave has Before I Let You Go. Doesn't matter. Whatever he does, that's going to be his, that's going to be his stuff. And so definitely that is my track. Before I Let You Go, Can I Get a Kiss? Good night.
That's a great choice. It's a great choice.
Vijay, do you want to go for your top 15, then your number 1?
My number 15 was Good Life, co-produced by David Wynn. David Wynn was also the DJ who scratched on Guy's Her, fantastic song. 14, Once in a Lifetime interlude, which was made into a full song later. I Like the Way You Work, remix was a fantastic. Tonight's the Night was number 12. Great remixes again. Booti Call was number 11. More great remixes. Number 10, Physical Thing, should have been a single. Really should have been. Falling in Love Again, number 9. I think I would have liked to see that as a single as well. Make You Wet, number 8. My number 7 is Baby Be Mine. If it was the original, it would have been much higher. Before I Let You Go was number 6. Love's in Need was number 5. Hey Love, Keep It Real interlude was number 4. Giving You All My Loving was number 3. Number 2 was Joy. Probably should have been my number 1. My number 1 is very personal to me, and a little bit like how Why Don't You Love Me made my number 1 on the intro podcast that we did. I listen to this a lot, and it resonates a lot for me. I've listened to this probably more than any other song on this album. Rap is by Knowledge, co-production by Chris Smith. It is, of course, the European only single. I don't know why it wasn't released in the US. I don't know what happened there, but it's You Blow My Mind. I can listen to this all day long. It doesn't need a remix. I mean, I know a lot of people love all the remixes. For me, the album version was perfect.
Oh, great album mix.
It didn't need tinkering. It was perfection. So thank you for creating this magical song. That's my number 1.
Great choice. Yeah, great choice.
Just before you go, Stevie. So this is Rab. So Rab on from 911, but also yes, he did have the. Was it Foreplay? What was the track?
Foreplay.
I think Foreplay. Yeah,
Song.
Foreplay. Yeah. And Rab is a vocal coach to Rihanna, Dave Matthews Band, as well as Justin Timberlake and stuff. And yes, the great vocalist. Hi, Rob. Stevie.
I've got a story about Rob actually, but I don't know if we've got time to tell it. You know what I mean?
Go ahead, Stevie. Rob's here. Let him listen.
On a few more podcasts, but some may have not heard this. It was about my visitation in 1996 to Rip It Records in Miami, Florida, I think it was. I went with a couple of friends they had a record label in the UK, an R&B record label. They ended up getting a meeting with Louis Bell at Rip It Records. We sat in his office. My friends played. They played some stuff on a CD that they were hoping to get signed in America. And Louis Bell's listening away like this. He's listening away, and he goes, "All right, guys, I'm going to play you something now." And we just played in CD quality, mastered stuff. I'm going to play you something from a cassette tape. It's not fully mastered yet, but what we're going to come out with. And he proceeds to play us 3 tracks from Rab's unreleased second album on a cassette tape, which absolutely blew our stuff away. Absolutely mind-boggling blew. I don't know what he's done with that, because he took that cassette, blah blah, put it back, put it back in his office desk, and never to be seen again. So, Mr. Rab, I know about your second album that never came out. He played it to us. It sounded fantastic, and whatever happened to it. Anyway, that's the story about Rab.
Yeah, I just remember.
Let's get to I'm not going to, you know what? I'm not even going to count 15 to 10 because no one's going to remember my 15 to 10. So I'll start at number 10. Who cares about your number 15? Number 10, I Like the Way You Work. Number 9, Falling in Love Again. Number 8, Physical Thing. Number 7, Make You Wet. Number 6, You Blow My Mind. Number 5, Wanna Make Love. Number 4, Tonight's the Night. Number 3, Before I Let You Go. Number 2, why isn't it number 1 when it's probably Blackstreet track Joy? My number 1 is quite simple. It's still to this day my go-to track. I heard it all. It was on all the pirate radio stations at the time. I heard it in the clubs. I used to dance to it on the floor. So just great memories. Giving You All My Loving is my number 1.
Wow, nice.
Easily my number 1. It's still my go-to track today.
Great track, man.
Yeah. The biggest mistake that they just threw at the end of the album and stuff. Stevie Rab's accent, is it true?
I don't have them tracks. Louis Bell from the you were signed to played us those tracks on a tape, and he's probably left that tape in a desk somewhere. You obviously still have the track.
He said it was 12 songs.
I only heard 3, so he plays 3 tracks from that tape.
Wow.
And they were amazing. Honestly, they were amazing. We it's just a shame we'll never get to hear them.
You know that from that time, like everything that Rob, Diesel, Slim, Mucho were doing with 911, that everything about Rip It Records.
Okay. Rob has the unreleased album. He has the unreleased album.
Well, don't say that, because everyone watching this will want a copy of it. You know what I mean? We don't want it going leaking all over the internet. So,
well, hopefully, Rob, you released it. I always remember when I interviewed Rob, and he talked about being out in Orlando, and somebody's playing music in the streets, and he was dead dancing, and they were pointing, Rob, your mama's watching you, coming towards you, and he didn't hear it. And he had a very tough, strong, disciplined mom, and she made sure that he wasn't dancing to Two Life Crew back in the day. But okay. Rob's got the album. Hopefully it comes out in the way it should, and we get to hear
don't put it on Spotify and make pennies. Just put don't put it on, release it on Bandcamp or something, and charge $10 so we can all send you $10 for it. At least you'll make some money then.
Yeah, that would definitely be good. Steve's had Giving You All My Love, which, as I said, beautiful track. They didn't do justice putting it as a bonus track at the end, but it's definitely a big bonus track. Andrew Knyte, what's going on?
What's going on? Just piggybacking off of Giving You All My Love, and I will say when I listened to it, and I thought "Want to Make Love Tonight" was the last song on the album. and then Giving You All My Love and was like, oh, you thought we were done? We're not done. Here's one more song. And it was like kind of like this is how badass this album is. That's how I took it. But I get what you're saying though about having it feel like a leftover. That said, I'm also going to take a page from Stevie and just do my top 10. So my number 10 and whatever, before I let you go. Sorry, guys. Number 9, Giving You All My Lovin'. Number 8, Make You Wet. Number 7, Booty Call. Number 6, Blow My Mind. Number 5, Baby Be Mine. Number 4, Physical Thing. Number 3, Good Life. Number 2, Love's in Need. And number 1, I'm going to attempt to sing again. And I'm a little nervous because Rob's in the room and he's a vocal coach, so he can like. But I'm just doing this as a fan. That's it, But basically, she's giving me joy, joy, joy. That girl, she gives me joy. So Joy is absolutely my number 1 track on this album. It's the one that separates it. And that's all. I think y'all said everything that needs to be said about Joy. But that girl, she brings me joy. Woo! Can't forget the day that you walked into my life. It was just the kind of thing that Michael Jackson should have sung on his album.
Yes, you should have.
I tell you what we should do, we should start a crowdfund on this podcast for Andrew so we can make an album. What do you reckon, guys?
Andrew should definitely do something.
Nnamdi and Andrew will do a verses. That's what we're doing.
It's always his own single and album out. Maybe we could make that dream come true.
Yeah, I'm channeling my
Rob's giving me singing lessons. Like, the secret's out now. No.
Oh goodness, no. I think it's definitely a really. I mean, those. I think that's the thing that Blackstreet, the first debut album, doesn't get appreciated from, because there's two contrasting things from the Booty Call and Make You Wet, and then you have Before I Let You Go and Joy and Happy Home and Tonight. It feels as if I think that the contrast between this get dirty and grimy, but let's actually have some really nice songs and good messages around that. So Joy was definitely wasn't stuff that you were hearing outside. I think later on you had To the Extreme or All for One singing these types of goody songs.
All My Life by Casey and JoJo. I felt
was
kind of in that same vein.
Yeah. That kind of very positive kind of divide across those. That was something that Blackstreet had, but I think they lost it when they did Another Level. They just did but anyway, Another Level sang so much more. But I think that's what made them such a different group, singing those types of songs. Joy and Before I Let You Go. Yeah, definitely.
So we all did a different number 1 there, which is interesting. All good choices though.
Yeah, none of us. That's different. So Vijay,
I think we all agreed on Joy though being in our top. What was it? What number was top 3? Really, on it yours.
Yeah, Joy was number 3 for me.
Number 3. What was your Joy, Vijay? What number did you have Joy at?
2.
I had it 2. You had it 3. Yeah. So we're all agreed on Joy, really.
Yeah, I'm surprised Before I Let You Go wasn't in your top 3, guys.
I'm surprised at that. I'm surprised.
I mean, that's their go. Yeah. That was their. I mean, that was their big. I think that was their biggest. Their biggest.
It was their biggest hit. It was. That's why I was like number 10.
And it was moving slowly. It was really moving slowly. Yeah. Anyway, Vijay. So customary, you normally ask the members of the
NGS3
Facebook group to submit their listings, and you sort of compile their top 10 or so.
So I will say a few thank yous first. Just before that, if you are interested in things related to future recording studios, I recommend this book by Tony Brown. It's called Don't Leave. He worked at Future Studios for 8 years, and it's a really good read. It's very light. You'll finish it in 2-3 hours, 4 hours.
Wow.
It's not a long read, so it's worth a read if you wanted, if you're interested in that. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that's expressed interest in this particular podcast, and those that have submitted lists. So the people that have been supportive: Bobby Rosavia, Brandon Wright, Chris Smith from the Future Camp, Claude John Lewis, David Wynn, also from the Future Camp, EDD, Eric Martinez, Big Bob, Urban Music Showcase, Mr. Keys, DJ Stretch Taylor, Sean Black Jones from Basic Black, Cut Technician for Teddy Riley's old DJ, Strictly Swing Show, Tony Brown, Tony Brown from the Future Camp also, Mr. Blackbeat, Kevin Moore, Bilal, Nutter Butter also from Future Camp, Dan the Man, Dan Perberger, KB, Larry Chief Singletree from Today, Renge, Ritesh from Flashback, Westy Berry, William Swing, Zach Hussein, the man with the encyclopedic knowledge, Jerome Ferron, Amin, Adnan Mochin, Alfatah Hanks, Amos Aur, Andras Lipta, Anil Bondu, aka the Cool One, Anil Shada, Anthony Prater, Balman, Barry Lane, Bella Adele Anton, Cesar Sevilla, Charles Mosley, Chiz, Christian Crea, Claudio Enrique, Classic B, Daniel Munoz Plaza, David Crosgrove, D Chapman, DJ Jazz, DJ King Raja, Deidre Lucas, Delan Wilson, Dennis Erayu, Double J Cool, EJ Foka, Elvira Elkabau, Feast DJ L, Gary Futuli, Gordon P. Strozier, Hafiz Abdurrahman, Hitesh Vora, Isik Sukerman, Janie Bird, Jason Lindsay Tupai, Jerome Ferron, Joe Da Silva, Joanne Titzing, Jose Luis Ramos, JP Walton, Kelly Mack, Leon Senior, Lucrezia Memo, Ludo Pelletier, Marco Ortmeyer, Matthew Carter, Matthias Bergstrom, Melvin Pepito Bacon, Michael Anthony, Michael Pazzo, Michelle Mills Jenkins, Michelle Rajkumar, Naheem Bala, Nasir T. DJ, Nikki Glatz, Nilson Vieira, Oliver Bodzin, Omar Sharif, Orkan Telgarin, Owen Royce, Patu Pate, Pax van de Villit, Peter Weinberg, Rassan Hill, Raj Moda, Robert Alcade, Robert Galucci, Rode Leva, Saloni Merok, Seli Tikel, Santiago, Shane Leahy, Shehi, Sifiso Sifmak, Stefan Drudge, Sver Benson, Tamer Ben, Tim Johnson, Ty Harper, and Paul Clifford, aka Mr. Yacht Soul. Sorry about that. So many people showed so much love for this podcast, and I couldn't go without just saying thanks to all of you guys. The ultimate lists, as per everybody that's sent lists in, I wanted to start by saying not a single person voted for Confession Interlude. Not one person. All the lists. So that's officially the worst song on this album. So if you wanted to know, that is it. Number 19 is the intro. Number 18 is Once in a Lifetime. Number 17 is Candlelight Night. Number 16 is Happy Home. Number 15 is Hey Love. Number 14 is Falling in Love Again. Number 13 is Wanna Make Love. Number 12 is I Like the Way You Work. Number 11 is Good Life. Number 10 is Love's in Need. Number 9 is Physical Thing. Number 8 is Booty Call. Number 7 is Make You Wet. Number 6 is Tonight's the Night. What's the top 5? You're wondering, aren't you? Number 5, Giving You All My Love. Number 4, not top 3, Before I Let You Go. Sorry, Stevie Nnamdi. Number 3, You Blow My Mind. Number 2, Baby Be Mine. And Shock Horror. Number 1 is Joy.
Yeah, that's the right choice. It's the right choice.
That's your lot.
It's the only choice.
Yeah,
The only real choice. Number 1.
She's giving me joy, joy, joy. This gives me joy.
Not phenomenal.
Someone do Teddy's part. Check 1, check 2. Sorry. Can't pull back. I'm in love with you.
Rab has just said that Aaron is. He just spoke with Aaron. He's still one of the best to ever have done it. if you watch the interview I had with Rob, your very first meeting with Aaron didn't sound as good as it did, probably as you just spoke to him recently. But I do wonder if this album was recorded by Guy, would it be, so as Aaron did all the heavy lifting, would it have been as good as this, based on the fact that we had a shared vocals between Levi, Chauncey, and Dave? Do you think Guy could have done justice to this album? Could Aaron carry this album, just singing pretty much all the songs by himself?
In 94, 93, 94, I think he could have. There's nothing wrong. Aaron's vocals were stunning at the time. His voice was flawless. Somebody said earlier that they said that Blackstreet was Teddy's best group. Now, there's a difference between people that comment about Guy saying that that's their favorite group and people that say that Blackstreet's their favorite group. People that tend to be a little bit older, and I'm when I say older, I mean a smidgen older, they tend to lean towards Guy, and people that are a little bit younger tend to say Blackstreet. For me, Guy is the ultimate. They're the R&B vocal group of all time. I think they like what Guy did for music. They are just not given enough praise, so it's difficult. It's a difficult one. I think Blackstreet would have Guy would have done a good job, but I think it was in the right hands with Chauncey and everybody that did it.
Agreed.
Yeah, and as Rob says, Guy didn't have, they didn't have the sort of the weapons, because I think what I always preferred with this album was the fact that I had a variety of vocalists, adding something different. Levi's singing Joy, that's on his own. Dave doing Before I Let You Go, Chauncey doing those physical thing, and I like the way you work, Love's in Need, or Giving You All My Loving. You just Teddy doing Good Life and doing Booti Call. It just felt rich because we just heard different things, and I think it was something that I felt 90s R&B, when they were just going to the one lead singer, just meant everyone else was just background singers. And I think what Teddy did with Blackstreet was say, let's do more variety. And I think that's what really helped them stand out.
Rob said exactly what I was thinking. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is Aaron crushed Let's Chill, but couldn't imagine him doing Joy. And that's it. I mean, that's it.
He's an aggressive singer. So yeah. So that's I mean, I wonder, he said Deezer could have pulled it off. I mean, I've heard the unreleased 911 album and Misery and all that stuff. I think, these are probably.
If you can sing, he sang Special Kind of Fool, so yeah.
I forgot about that. But I think I like the fact that we had diversity. I think it's like Game of Thrones was good because they had the different little episodes. So when you saw what's going on, and then you just shoot over here. And I think this album is like, this vocal, then you go to another vocalist. I think it kept you on your feet and stuff like that. So but anyway, but as I said, all of us here who are on this podcast would admit that this was definitely a good, groundbreaking album. It just did platinum. It didn't get the loving nationwide that it should have. And I think the change of lineup is hard to argue because they did better with the new lineup, but I think it's just down to luck and not down to preference.
Nnamdi, why do you think this album didn't sell a gazillion copies? It's not that the album was poor. It's an extraordinary album. So why did this album not sell like hotcakes? Why did it not do that? I think it sold 1 million, right? It reached back.
And at the time, 1 million albums for a R&B album was considered big. This is just BET and Black radio supporting it. No Diggity was they were on Jay Leno, the Tonight Show, singing No Diggity. They were number one for 4 weeks. They knocked the Macarena off the top 4 of the number one album. So that became a pop album. They were on MTV. Have you ever? They were on MTV, doing singing, doing their stuff. So they became pop and that's where they had Fishbone, and they were doing all this stuff with older because it became more popular. For an R&B album, this was their market. R. Kelly was doing 1 million, and that was fine until that's that big track that nobody has Pump and Grind had a remix that went viral, and then he became. So you move from just the black market buying your record to some of the popular people buying your record. So that's when you go from 1 million to 4 or 5. That's why Boyz II Men were doing that. Tony Braxton, when Unbreak My Heart, moved away from just the black artist radio. But all this Jodeci stuff, they were doing 1.5 to 1.5 2. That was the extent. That's the ceiling of how black artists were doing at the time. But when you had,
that's it. I mean, that's basically it. Another level crossed over. This first album didn't. The first album was strictly R&B, black, urban crowd only. Before I Let You Go peaked out, and that got on MTV, but it didn't cross over to the level of Another Level, no pun intended. And someone said Dr. Dre feature. Gangster rap has always been a crossover genre. That was never a black only genre. White people love the hell out of gangster rap, which is why it's probably bigger fans of that genre, frankly. So it's like, that's it. If you cross over, you're going to sell more. That's all it is.
That's why Booti Men always outsold Jodeci, but they didn't like the fact that they weren't considered they weren't celebrated on black radio as much as say Jodeci was. So it's a double-edged sword. Blackstreet did that. Now they enjoy the success of No Diggity going worldwide and all this stuff. But I think that's at that time that was how the labels were,
Was somebody saying that Snoop was meant to be on this first album somewhere? Because that would have made sense with the G-Funk influence of like 3 or 4 songs off this album. There were. If Snoop had done a rap, would that have helped? Because 94, when did Doggy Style come out?
93.
Yeah,
but 93. But yeah, Snoop would have helped it, because I think that the album had a bit of a G-Funk vibe to it. Warren G would Regulate had just come out. 94 was all about the G-Funk. So yeah, had Snoop been on one of those tracks, it would have helped. Crossover. Yeah,
but I think this was a debut album, so they had no history, so they were able to build upon, I know Diggity was a big viral hit, but not many of us, it was a different track. We didn't know what's a No Diggity. They didn't expect it to blow up as it did, but I don't know if Snoop would have done as good, because it was a truly black album. I'm not saying it's just for black people, but it was the black music, and it wasn't really designed to be. There was no big hits on this that would take it to Kiss or take it to MTV at the time. And when I'm talking about MTV, I'm talking about
I know the radio. I totally agree with you, because I think even No Diggity, that doom, like it's not necessarily. It had a universal appeal, and you've got, who's that redheaded guy? I keep forgetting his name. Oh my God, Irish guy. He's big now.
Ed Sheeran.
Thank you, Ed Sheeran doing covers of No Diggity with like Kygo. Like everyone has done No Diggity. I agree with you. It's a universal track.
Yeah, even Backstreet Boys did No Diggity on BBC Two, singing it. So I think it became one of those songs where I've seen some Korean groups singing it. So but you think about, I think if Joy, I don't think they promoted Joy well enough. I think that could have been a big track, but the video and the way it just didn't have the X factor that could have helped it become that big track. I think, there's just the way it was pushed. It could have been, but Before I Let You Go was really done well. But I don't think they pushed Joy the same way.
You know what? I'm going to say something potentially controversial. I think that also, when you look at a Dave Hollister or a Levi Little, they look on, again, just being whatever, they look on the older kind of unk end. Whereas if you look at, say, what's his name? Mark Middleton's like brolic. He's got these muscles going on. Like, I feel like visually, the Another Level lineup was also a bit more like with the times, and they looked more like they could, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like that also was an impact. That video for No Diggity with the miniatures, you know, and it was also an iconic looking video. Everything about that.
It was a Hype Williams video.
It was Hype Williams video. You had Dr. Dre in it. Visually, you know, they kind of glowed up because they were younger looking. All that matters, especially back then, because they call it Video Kill the Radio Star. The image matters. And I think the image kind of came together more on the second album.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I saw the video for No Diggity before I heard it on the radio. And I was like, what's this? You know, and the whole puppets doing their thing, and with Dre. And because you remember, this was the time when Dre left Death Row. So it was like his first stop. So I think this album, it probably could have done maybe 1.5 million. But I think it did more. It did better than Interscope expected. And yeah. So what's that? They had Queen Pin. Or what was the one that you guys were?
No, he said Eric on the unk tiptoe, which is why I didn't say Eric. I said Mark. But Eric had a cool voice, and he had a certain kind of swagger to him anyway, with the sunglasses and the leather jacket. So, but yeah, no. This album completely underrated, but I think that we celebrated the hell out of it on this episode.
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah.
Who would win if there was a versus between Guy and Blackstreet? Who would win that?
That's a tough one, though. You're right.
I'm asking for a friend.
I think if we're looking at, it depends on which version of Guy. Are we talking Timmy Gatlin debut album Guy, or are we talking future?
Whatever version you want.
Guy?
It doesn't matter what version you put. Like Guy versus, because Blackstreet had a lot of members. Guy have had 4 members. So whatever combination, 5 if you include I'll Be Sure.
No, well, I think within the Black community, I think Guy.
Yes.
They didn't have the No Diggity the big hit, but you can't mess with Groove Me. I think Groove Me just on itself.
Nnamdi, you said it depends on the audience, right? It depends on the audience. But I think if you keep Versus to the original audience of what Versus was, it's Guy all day. Yeah. If you let like kind of the more crossover group come into the Versus audience, then Blackstreet has a shot. You know, so we're on the same page.
Yeah. I think Groove Me. I think Let's Chill. Even though I think it's one of the, I won't say one of the weakest, they're more iconic ballads, but I think Piece of My Love and Goodbye Love are
Goodbye Love. I mean, forget it. Like, there's so many forget it. Like, Guy is iconic, you know. Yeah. So I think track for track, I think Guy has more iconic ones than Blackstreet does.
Jay Hot's here, Mucho's nephew.
Yeah,
he's saying Blackstreet has more hits.
Yeah, Jay. I have to give a shout out to Jay Hart because he connected me with so many people from Rob, from Sprague to Mucho to Damon, as well as the guys of Blackstreet, and Jay Hart actually got Keith Sweat to come on the show. But I always remember that night I had Don Lewis and stuff. So Jay Hart, always love for you, my friend. Always love for you, my friend. But anyway, yes. No, we're not going to get to Wizzy Black Another Level 3 too. And I think just as we wrap up, guys.
David Yarding says, when is the new Blackstreet dropping?
Hey, Jay Hart, you can answer that because you'd produced most of that album. But but just as we wrap up, though, where would we rank, or how would we rank Blackstreet as a group as a '90s group? Because we had Jodeci, Drew Hill.
They're in the top 10.
Intro.
They're in the top 10 easily.
Oh, 10 is quite.
They comfortably make top 5 for me.
Okay.
Comfortably. They're Blackstreet. This album alone, it's just ridiculous. We had to change the top 10 to a top 15 at your request, Stevie. We couldn't do a top 10. It's too good. This album
too difficult. Too difficult.
Yeah.
I think they didn't have the X factor like Jodeci. I don't think it just musically Jodeci just had a few of those bigger hits that really were iconic hits. They didn't have that Forever My Lady debut album. They didn't have Diary of a Mad Band. But I think they definitely they're he says most of the songs are gone. So Jay Hart is saying most of the songs that he actually produced for the Blackstreet album have been given out. So what a pity. I had some of them that were really good. It's a pity. But anyway, it's been a good one, guys. It's been a long-awaited one. It's an album that's, a lot of people have celebrated, and we're definitely appreciative that everyone was able to have their say on this. I'll send you one of the. Okay, thanks. We'll talk offline, Jay. Okay, guys. Final, Stevie. I haven't heard much from you today. You seem to have been really quiet, but your final thoughts on this album?
Like I said at the start of the show, phenomenal album. It is for us, for the collectors, it's a classic of the 90s. And we've had a lot of play out of this album. I've worn my CD out. Probably some of you got the vinyl. You might have worn your vinyl copies out. We've all got great memories of it. And I will say this on the next New Jack Swing podcast. I promise you a New Jack Swing album. That's all I've got to say.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so that'll be great. Vijay, I know you've been a big fan of this album. Any final thoughts from you?
The best way I can sum up this album, before this album came out, they used to play some of the tracks on radio. And I was so excited by each of the songs that had come out. I used to keep my cassette ready just in case they played a song by Blackstreet off this album, because I needed to record it, because I didn't know when the hell this album was coming out. It was coming out like a month or two later, and I needed those songs just so that I could listen to it. So I have not done that with very many artists over time. So this was a very, very special album, and I'm glad we got to honor it today, and everybody that's involved in it. And we didn't mention people like Kimberly Smith, who was involved in this album, people like Spragg. We mentioned Spragg, of course, but there's so many talent. Michael Concepcion was executive producer. John McCain was on this as well. Jimmy Iovine for letting this album be made on his label. Or everybody involved in this project. Thank you. That's it.
And finally, you, Andrew?
Yeah, I would say it's my favorite Blackstreet album, bar none. And it's also my favorite Teddy Riley project post New Jack era. So, yeah, I mean, that's all there is to it. I just think that this is really a special one, and should be more celebrated. I do think it could have crossed over a bit more with a few tweaks, but overall as a project, it's something I was very excited to be part of, and I'm glad I was part of this podcast.
Definitely. Well, appreciate it, guys. Rob has his top 10. He put New Edition, to Jackson's, Jodeci, Guy, Blackstreet, Boyz II Men, Drew Hill, commissioned the Winans and the Isley Brothers. That'll be interesting. Got to go to bed. Well, yes, it is just midnight. So, guys, thanks for tuning in. It's long. It's a big album, so it was longer than the rest that we expected. So we will see you guys in due time when we find out what Stevie's next album is. Rob, Jay Hart, Mr. Vignon, Ezekiel, and everyone, thank you. We love you guys, and thanks for always being part of the show by comments and stuff like that. Makes a massive difference. So we'll see you guys